Kia ora koutou, katoa. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2023 Potts Classic here at Mitre 10 Sports Park in Hawke's Bay. My name is Hayden Sherman. Joining with me in the commentary booth is Tony Rogers, former 1500 Olympian, and we are into the meet proper, you might say. We had some wonderful action earlier with the men's pole vault, the women's hammer and the men's hammer, but this is the official evening program, and boy, we've got an incredible lineup of athletes. I said earlier in the day that it almost looks like a final day of national champs when you look through the field. Some of these heat lists look like the finals that you'd have in a 400 final or an 800 final. We've got the 3,000 metre under 20 champs, as you can see there, at 6:55 and 7:40 for the women and men respectively. And then on the field, we've got our women's long jumpers warming up there. You can see, is that Mariah Ridanui going through her processes. And then shortly after that, we will also have the women's pole vault, which is a highly anticipated matchup.
Yeah, looking forward to some of these field events as well as the action on the track this afternoon. And we're going to start with the women's long, as you said, Hayden. And there's going to be tricky wins for them as well. And I caught up with Anthony Nobilo, who took out the men's hammer in the break. And he said even for the hammer throwing, it was quite tricky with the wind coming in at them down there. So if it was tricky for the hammer throwers, it was definitely tricky, as we mentioned, for the pole vault, and it will be similar for the long jump, trying to make sure they judge the wind right for their takeoff marks.
So there we've got the start list for the women's long jump. That'll be the focus for us for the first half hour at least. So we've got Mariah Ridanui, Hannah Sanderlands, Brianna Stevenson, good to see her back from injury, Juliet McKinley, Georgia Gibbons, Lara Hockley, Sophie Hancock and Taylor Trowell. So we've got national champ with Mariah Ridanui. We've got Brianna Stevenson, who's been a force in the long jump in the past, but I think she had knee surgery last year and she had a bit of time off, but she's looking in good shape now. And we've also got under 18 champ with the likes of Georgia Gibbons lining up. So senior athletes and juniors all looking to use this gentle tailwind to blow them to some good PBs. And I had a little chat to James Stain, asked him about how was that wind in the pole vault? Did it upset things? And he said most of the time it's perfect. Most of the time it's just the sort of tailwind that you like, but occasionally it would bluster in from the right there, as we see Mariah getting her day going, looking so strong, getting good height.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have our next presentation for the evening.
So that's the first jump of the day in the long jump pit.
And presenting is Tony Snell. In third place, representing Mana Amateur Athletics.
Getting immediate feedback there from the coach.
Elizabeth Hewitt.
And there are our place getters in the women's hammer.
In second place, representing Christchurch,
Elizabeth Hewitt,
7.38.
Lexi Maples.
And that's a PB, 2 PBs in the stinks.
And as you heard over the stadium microphone, big PB from Lexi. And then
representing South Canterbury with a throw of 66.54, Lauren Bruce.
So Lauren Bruce taking it out, starting her 2023 the way she would have hoped.
Yeah, and I heard that Lauren had just flown in yesterday, so she's probably just, happy to get this comp under her belt when she comes to ride back in New Zealand, out of Melbourne, where she's training. So,
So Brianna Stevenson, I believe it was a knee surgery she had. I might need to confirm that on social media, but we haven't seen her for a while. She won the gold medal in this event back in 2020. She also picked up the bronze in the 200 back in 2021. Has a best of 6:08.
Yeah, she's a local athlete, even though she's, I think, training maybe up in Auckland now, but she's definitely a Napier or Hastings girl, so she'll be feeling at home, at least on a home track.
Here she goes on the runway for the first time. Nice clean hang technique. So essentially there's two ways of approaching the long jump in terms of flight. There's that hang technique, which you'll see from Brianna, so that means the legs don't really move much, just sort of pull them through. Often trying to get those hips forward, and then there's the hitch kick where you're almost running through the mid-air, and it tends to just be a personal preference situation. And here are our place getters in the men's hammer. Keep an eye on this man in the middle of your screens, Anthony Nobilo. Because he's moving up the rankings in the New Zealand all-time list in the hammer. And I'm sure Anthony Barnes will be paying attention to what Anthony Nobilo's up to, because he's not too far behind Anthony Nobilo. And so the hammer boys are following close in the footsteps of what the girls have done over the recent years.
Yeah, I've been keeping a watch on Anthony on his US results as we sort of try and do a few updates from the American athletes on my podcast during the winter, and it's been really impressed to see, like Anthony Nobilo, Anthony Barnes has been getting PBs just about every week there our winter, his summer in the States, so it'll be good to see how he progresses again too. Another young hammer thrower on our scene. We've been lucky by having some really good throws coaches come in under the throws program for our high performance program, and Anthony and his coach Mike Schofield also coaches Maddie Wishy as well, I believe. So these athletes are all progressing well.
So that was Georgia Gibbons. She's the under 18 national champ, which she achieved on this very runway back in March. So she'll have fond memories of this track, and all these athletes will have a friendly little tailwind blowing them in. And it'll be interesting to see what sort of wind readings we get, because of course they do play a part in the long jump in terms of records and personal bests. And here's Lara Hockley, 20 years of age, out of Athletics Hastings, another local.
So yeah, the winds are looking not too bad from what's come up from the first few jumps over there. They're all under the legal, which is under 2.0 metres per second. So, in fact, Brianna Stevenson, the local, judged it best. She got a 1.9 behind her jump, which she did of 5:42 as an opener. So she's currently in second place behind Hannah Sanderlands.
And I totally put Lara under the bus, because of course she's from where I'm from. She's from Taranaki in Hawera. So Lara Hockley moves up into third place with a 5:18. And here goes Sophie Hancock.
Sophie's representing the New Zealand secondary schools team after her performances in Inglewood, and she'll be going in a few of the other events as well over the series, the classic series.
So this is the first round of 6 in the long jump. We have 9 athletes competing, so unfortunately we'll have to drop one of those athletes as we whittle things down to just 8 for the final 3 rounds. So we do 3 rounds in order, and then we cull the field down to just 8 athletes, and then it is done in reverse order from shortest jump to longest for the final 3 rounds. And Taylor Trow of Palmerston North, another one who featured promptly at the New Zealand secondaries at Inglewood.
And our viewers can see the women's pole vaulters just warming up over the back there, so we'll let you know that comp starts at 5, so it's about another 20 minutes away.
And the crowd filling in now. It's well supported, this event, from the locals. And here she is, Mariah Ridinui. After a foul in round 1, she's back in round 2. Breathes a sigh of relief, little clap. Happy to get on the board. The measuring tape goes out. So Mariah with 4 national titles in the long jump. Back in 2013, she won the senior women's 100 metres. So that's the sort of speed that you need in the long jump. And she's converting that well over the last few years. She's been definitely the woman to beat.
Yeah, and she's another athlete that's had her share of injuries and had fortunately come well through those and performed pretty well in the last couple of seasons, which is good for Mariah.
And it just looks like she's been given a second foul. So I thought she got the all clear with that, but maybe they've had a closer look at the plasticine potentially. Now here's Hannah Sanderlands. She's got a best of 591, which she set in October last year. So this season so far has been pretty strong for Hannah. Gets the white flag. Look at Mariah saying, "You got the white flag. I want some of that white flag action." Here she is. Very powerful approach. That penultimate step, just dropping the body a little, rising up on that last step. And she throws herself into the sandpit. Here's Brianna Stevenson, currently in second place behind Hannah, who got it just right and dropped a 4 centimetre PB in round 1. So Hannah has definitely come to play ball right from word go. Brianna is possibly the best pre-run approach of all the long jumpers in New Zealand. And we've got a bit of news coming through, but we'll catch this from Brianna as she gives a little fist pump to the sky. And Tony's just pointed out we've had a 6:20 come through from Hannah Sanderland, so that's going to shoot her up this competition leaderboard. But the wind was 2.0, and that is just over the limit in terms of what's going to be a personal best. So that's a bit of heartbreak for Hannah.
If it's 2.0, which it'll be
good.
legal. It'll be
Are we
good.
good?
It's 2.0,
okay.
so you can't be over 2.0. That's my understanding of the rules. But we just had our number 1 technical official walk behind me, actually, Trevor Spittle. We could check that, but I'm pretty sure if it's 2.0 exactly, then you're good. But if it's 2.1, you're not. So
right, so on the line's fine. You're in. That's awesome. So that would be a big PB. That means she's advanced her personal best today by 30 centimetres. We just had Brianna's mark come through as a 5:34, so that won't improve her 5:42. Here's Lara Hockley.
So ladies and gentlemen, yes, welcome to the 24th Potts Classic. Just a quick acknowledgement of the sponsors. You can see all their flags out here.
Sorry, that was Juliet McKinley from Palmerston North. As we see Lillian Big getting warmed up in the women's pole vault. And this discus competition is going to be one to watch. The first national record to be broken this year was by Connor Bell, and that will be amazing to see him line up again.
Yeah, just pointing out that if that 6:20 is legal and official, that'll pop Hannah Sanderlands into the top 20 all-time in New Zealand women's long jump. So that's a pretty impressive mark, and I know that 6:20 was as far as Mariah jumped last summer, topping the New Zealand rankings. So really good performance. Has maximised the win if it was 2.0.
Absolutely, can't ask for much better than that. Very cool.
So this will add to the list. So we're looking forward to see some big throws going out there later on.
Georgia Gibbons, under 18 national champ, for her second jump. So Juliet McKinley's previous jump was 4:59. That's her best today. And Georgia Gibbons currently sitting in 4th place with a 4:86. So the action is about to heat up. At 5 o'clock, we've got the women's pole vault, 5:05, the men's discus, and then 5:10 with Madison Weshi lining up in the women's shot put. So the field is going to absolutely turn up to 11 on the volume switch, as we've got Commonwealth Games medalists in the likes of Madison Weshi in the shot put. We've got Commonwealth representatives with Connor Bell and New Zealand record holder in the discus. We've got bronze medalists in the pole vault. So things are going to get serious in about 20 minutes time. So you can see there's Eliza McCartney. Good to see her back on the pole vault runway. Seems like an age since we last saw her competing domestically. So this competition is going to be one for the ages, with our top 3 female pole vaulters all competing together. And now back to Sophie Hancock. Getting up to speed on the runway, launching herself into that sand pit.
So yeah, just on Liza McCartney, you were talking about, since we saw her compete, other than the midweek that she competed here, it's a good 18 months since she competed, June 2021. So I think that was when she was seeing if she had come through her injury issues to see if she could pursue the Tokyo qualification. But she did a couple of jumps there in 2021 and then called it until she got her injury right. So let's hope it's completely up to speed now, and that she can continue to improve after a jump during the week.
Taylor Troe poising herself for her second attempt in this women's long jump. So current standings are Hannah Sanderlands out in front with the 6:20, then Brianna Stevenson, then Lara Hockley. Taylor is sitting in 6th place at the moment with a 4:60. As the spectators are enjoying a little bit of sunshine as the clouds just start to break up a little bit, which is good timing. The forecast is for the wind to die off a little bit as well. So all is heading in the right direction as we head into the business end of this meet. And talking about business end, this is a crucial jump for Mariah. She has 2 fouls, and this will be her final attempt to stay in the competition in round 3.
Yeah, it's not the sort of pressure I'm sure that she wants to have so early in the season, but it just shows that it is early season for these athletes. Some of them, it's their first major comp, that's for sure. So getting things right, like the runway, is really important, and takes a bit of adjusting. So but Mariah's an experienced athlete. She should be able to make that adjustment.
Yeah, 4-time national champ in the long jump. She knows what she's doing. You can see her there. She's just got her hand, just feeling for the wind. Here she goes. Third attempt. Reigning national champion in round 3 with no mark on the board yet.
Looking for a flag. We can't see it go up yet, but it looks like it was a white flag, I think. So that's a relief for her.
Yeah, that was a shake of the head. I mean, I think it was a relief shake of the head.
She'll at least go through to have another 3 jumps. She wouldn't like to be the only athlete that's going to miss having the total of 6 jumps in the competition. That's for sure. As a senior pro of the field, if you like.
So you can see there with those results, Stream Shop doing a great job pulling through the results. And there we go, Mariah Ridenoe. She's on the board, second place at the moment with that 5.72. So she will survive through to the final 3 rounds. And Hannah Sanderlands, she's having a cracker old day. Best day of her life in the long jump, on the long jump runway. Everything is falling into place, including just absolutely nailing these wind readings. 2.0 metres per second, that previous one. Here she goes. What's she got in round 3? Gets the red flag, so maybe just getting a bit too keen on the runway for that one. Wind for that one was 1.3 tailwind, and for those wondering what are we going to have for sprint conditions and for the rest of the day, so far there's been no wind over 2 metres per second, so that's good signs. Means that generally things are on the lighter end of the scale. As we see Brianna Stevenson, she is sitting in 3rd place at the moment. 5.42. I do love this process she goes to, and I think this is great for especially young athletes, being able to see, just compose yourself, get that mind in the right place before you ask the body to do what it's supposed to do.
She gets a white flag, so she'll be happy as well. Yeah, it is important, and it's a good reminder, as you say, for young athletes. You do have 1 minute on that runway to kind of get your thought processes and get yourself set. And I know you see a lot of young athletes in the field events sort of get out there when they're called and get straight into it, and it's about having that time, isn't it? Which we see all the best athletes do when they're doing their routines as part of their prep.
And often it can be a case of getting your mind back to maybe where you do all your training, what you're used to, and just imagining you're just back home at your local track. It's just another training session. And so that way you can focus more on the process rather than the result. As we see Juliet McKinley from Palmerston North, one of 2 15-year-old athletes competing today. So great for these younger athletes to be rubbing shoulders with national champs, national senior champs.
And actually we were talking that there was 9 athletes. Hayden, I see that Queenie Morgan from the Livin Club doesn't look like she's started, so all of these athletes won't have that stress that we were talking about that like some Mariah may have been thinking about. So
sorry about that, Mariah, and her whānau back home stressing out whether she's going to stay in the competition.
We haven't seen a result come out for Queenie Morgan from the Livin Club, who's listed in the field, and we haven't seen her on the runway, so we assume she's a non-starter. So it's just a field of 8. So all 8 will get their 6 attempts.
That keeps it nice and simple.
Yep.
All right, Georgia Gibbons. Here she goes. So a reminder, at 5 o'clock we kick into the women's pole vault. The long-awaited battle between Imogen, Olivia and Eliza, 3 leading Kiwi pole vaulters. That kicks off at 5. Then at 5:05 we've got the men's discus, which will feature Connor Bell, the new New Zealand record holder. And then at 5:10 we've got the women's shot put. So that's coming up in the field. And then of course the track action will kick off at about 5:06, where we go into the 200 metres. And then from there it's 200 metres hurdles, 100 metre prelims, 400 metres, and then we round out the night with the 100 metre finals, the 3,000 metre under 20 national champs, and also those absolutely stacked 800 metre finals. So plenty more to come. The night wraps up about 8 o'clock. So as this wind dies down and the sun tries to come out again, we'll be enjoying some amazing athletics here at Mitre 10 Sports Park in Hastings.
Sophie Hancock, I think, on the runway now in the New Zealand school singlet.
So Sophie in the previous round got up over 5 metres to 5:06. So we've got 5 athletes, or 6 athletes clear of that 5 metre mark, with Georgia Gibbons just equaling the 5 metre mark. And that was a 4:96 from Sophie. So she's sitting there in 5th. But it still remains Hannah Sanderlands out the front with that huge 6:20. And Taylor Troe from Palmerston North. And that will round out round 3. So we're midway through this women's long jump competition. We'll do our absolute best to follow it, but there will be a bit of competition in the final 3 rounds in terms of attention for eyeballs as we open up the pole vault and get the men's discus going, and also the women's shot.
And of course we'll hit the track with just after 5 o'clock with the 200 metre starting the track program. So looking forward to seeing that, because I think they've got ideal winds with the 200 at the moment, with a bit of a breeze across the bottom bend there behind them. So it's ahead in the straight, but they'll get a good benefit, I think, around the corner by the way those flags are looking. Ladies warming up in the shot, and hopefully should see Madison Weshy, our Commonwealth Games medalist, out there shortly.
Yeah, and isn't it just been amazing to see Madison's progression? I really felt like Tokyo Olympics was a coming of age moment for her. What did she finish up, 7th at Tokyo? Was it 6th? But it was a big PB on the day, and then she's just gone on from there to extend that personal best up into the 9 metre zone. And really, she's so following in the footsteps of Val Adams. She's got the big shoes to fill, but it just seems she's just quietly going about her business, and just every year, there she is on screen getting the shot now, every year, cool, calm, collected, continues to extend her personal best. You can see just the way she goes through her motions, I've said it before, it's almost like she's playing petanque in the backyard. The way that she comes to the table, just her composure and her ability to stay calm in pressure situations, but still drop big personal best when it counts. All right, the women's pole vault. Here we go. So the fields are Eliza McCartney, our Olympic bronze medalist from 2016, Aria Rhodes, Lily Bing, Eliza Meekings, Imogen Eris, Olivia McTaggart, Hannah Adai, Caitlin Mitchell, Jessica Strick. And boy, this competition is one that I've been looking forward to all week long, seeing how this unfolds. We'll see the juniors, the likes of Aria Rhodes, Lily Bing, Eliza Meekings, Hannah Addy. They'll be going first, and they'll be looking to get up, into that sort of high 3s, early 4s zone, and then we'll see the entrance of Eliza, Imogen, and Olivia. And Olivia had a great vault on Wednesday, clearing 4:51. That was her first height. So she's looking in great shape after, despite some disappointments at Com Games, had a pretty solid year last year.
Yeah, she had a very good world champs, and so yeah, it was tough at the Commonwealth Games. Probably tough for her to get herself up again after a good performance at the world champs, and which was a little bit like that when you were talking before with Madison in the shot put, where she finished 7th at the Worlds with her 1950 PB, and then still got a bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games, but it wasn't quite the same distance in terms of her performance. But they had, our athletes had a pretty tough summer abroad, if you like, of having two major competitions pretty close together, and for some of them it was about which one they were going to try and peak for, I guess. But
yeah,
and obviously we had some perform well at both, which is great.
Yeah. Now, I imagine these discus throwers aren't too happy about the direction of this wind that's basically coming right from the camera straight down that throwing sector. And ideally, when you're throwing the discus, you want to be throwing it into a gentle headwind. That'll just help with the lift. Yeah, definitely. And it's not often the wind is from that direction, to be fair, here at the stadium, is it? I mean, if we think of the winds last year at this meet and at the Nationals, they would tend to be tail in the 100, which means it was going into the discus as they're throwing it now. Yeah.
But we've got a bit of a different weather pattern here today. It's much cooler in the Hawke's Bay than it often is.
I think the locals would say a different weather pattern all summer,
Yes.
judging by how green the hills are. And the infield here, often this time of year, it's very dry. As we see the field for the men's discus, so Sefo Blessing, Stephen Thorpe, Max Abbott, Connor Bell, Nathaniel Sulupo, Jared Neighbours, and Connor Bell certainly the man to watch. But also keep an eye out for these juniors coming through, the likes of Max Abbott, Sefo Blessing. These guys are really coming up through the ranks, and they'll be looking at someone like Connor Bell, who's just a few years older, saying, okay, well, maybe I can follow that guy. Maybe I can take a few leaves out of his book, because it's very cool to have a new national record holder at the very young age of what's Connor Bell, like 20, 22, 23?
Yes, it's only in his infancy in the senior ranks, that's for sure. But he's definitely made some great progress, and obviously had a tough year. It was an Olympic year. He had an injury, so to come back and throw as well as he did last summer abroad was good.
Yeah, it's good to see him get that experience at the comp games in particular, and compete with some of his heroes that he grew up following, and now he can share a circle with them. And good to get that experience under the belt, because it really, as we've seen from other athletes, just getting something under the belt can show them that these other guys and girls out there are human. You see them up close and personal, and you can really pick up a lot of experience from getting out onto that international stage. As we click back to the women's long jump, we're into round 4 now. So Georgia Gibbons opening up her 4th round. And we will hear a couple of races start in the background. Don't worry, they are local junior 100-metre handicap races, so we won't be following those ones.
Sophie Hancock was on the long jump run up, but we've come away to, I think it might be our first vault actually, so we'll see if it was the first of the pole vault for the woman.
Lillian Bing on the pole vault. So we're about to get to that stage in the meet where we'll have 4 field events happening all at once. So we'll do our best to catch the highlights and keep you up to date with what's going on. So we've got 9 women in this women's pole vault competition. And as I say, the 3 to look out for as the height goes up on that bar will be Eliza McCartney, Imogen Eris and Olivia McTaggart. All right, Sophie Hancock now. All right, so Brianna Stevenson sitting in 3rd place at the moment with a 5:42 best. That was from her opening jump. This is round 4. And here she goes on the runway now. Brianna Stevenson. She lets out a yell. I'm not sure if that was a yell of satisfaction or frustration. It can often be difficult to tell, but maybe a little fist bump there. So at her best, she's out beyond 6 meters, is been jumping consistently around that 5:40 mark this afternoon. And shortly we'll be getting underway with some 200 meters as well. So we'll be having basically a mixed 200 meters, but first up will be the men's open 200 meters. And here we have 2nd place in this competition, Mariah Ridanui, who had a few difficulties early on in round 1, round 2 with 2 fouls. Then got a score on the board in round 3 with a 5.72. And we'll try and keep you posted as we're just struggling to get results coming through from that long jump. But as the discus kicks off, we'll be giving you some scores shortly. They're just going through their final warm-up throws there. The red flag there in the pole vault.
So the locals will be looking forward to seeing one of their own, Rylan Noom out of Napier Boys, who won the National Schools 200. He looks like he's going to go on the 200 shortly, so it'll be good to see how he goes up against some of these seniors.
Yeah, and right next to him, national record holder Joseph Miller has been looking like he's getting back to some of his vintage form that he had back in 2016, 2017. And then Tommy Tapuni, who he's won under 20 titles, two national under 20 titles in the 200 metres. So quality field. Young up and coming para athlete Jackson Woolley out of Tauranga. So yeah, good field in this 200 metres, which we'll get going shortly as we see some of our hurdlers just going through some drills on the back straight. So first heat up will be the mixed 200 metres.
Yeah, so there's a couple of young athletes. Young Josh Taylor's a para athlete out of the Wairarapa. He's in the T20 class. Performs pretty well in most of the local competitions. And then it's interesting to see a couple of young girls in there as well. The name Emily Cowan, I'm wondering if it's young Thomas Cowan's younger sister out of Takapuna. So it's two of the Wellington girls there, Neve Gidia and Sasha Kilmeister, Para Umu and Amana Club, so we'll see how they go.
So that was Stephen Thorpe getting his afternoon underway in the discus. Now I have to apologise, we're struggling to get some of these results coming through. The system works really well when it works. When it doesn't work so well. In fact, we get very little results, but I can tell you that first mark to come through in the men's discus is Blessing Sefor with a 43.29. And there's Max Abbott coming into the discus circle. So Max Abbott, he's your reigning under 20 champ, which he also took out last year. In 2020, he took out the New Zealand Secondary Schools title. So he's been certainly the junior to beat. But now moving up into the senior ranks, using the senior implement.
Yeah, so he threw a 42.65 during the week. We see if he can improve on that, I'm sure, with the 2 kg throw. Had some experience overseas at the Oceania Champs last year, of course. Now we're into 2023. So Max is one of our up-and-coming throwers. Been training in Wellington under Shaka Solar, but now he's in Christchurch. I think he's doing some of the workouts with the throws group down there. So.
All right, so this field in the first of our 200s, we've got Joshua Taylor, who's a T20 athlete. He'll be running in lane 2. We've got Bill Quigley in lane 3, Neve Gidje in lane 4, Verde Kestrup in lane 5, Emily Cohen runs in lane 6, and Sasha Kilmeister on the outside in lane 7. And here he is, Connor Bell, the reigning New Zealand record holder in the discus. That's his first throw, and every eye turns to see how Connor Bell opens up his campaign. Bit of a shake of the head.
Looks like about a 59-metre throw by the look of it. So.
All right, so this is the first event that we're covering on the track here today at the 2023 Potts Classic. Looks like the early lead is going to Bill Quigley, but of course it is a mixed race, so races within the race, of course. So Bill Quigley, 15-year-old out of Christchurch, running really well at the moment.
Pretty close go between Neve Gidia and Sasha Kilmeister, if we take the leading women's part of the race, if you like, within a race within a race.
Absolutely. So handshakes all around. So great that these athletes can line up together. Bill Quigley, 25 flat. Neve Getje, 26.42. And Sasha Kilmeister with a 26.51. Right, back to Lillian Bing in the pole vault. Up she goes. And takes down the bar. The pole comes down with her as well. So we're still yet to get an update. I wonder if there's just a lack of people entering in results out there with all the events happening at the moment. So
well, it could be the Wi-Fi is overloading, but
yeah, it could be.
Madison, where she's got her first throw out to 18.10 in the shot. So our leading throwers, Connor Bell, 57.17 in the discus, and Madison Wishy, 18.21 in the shot. So they're opening their rounds.
Brianna Stevenson. She's always gets the crowd behind her, as you can see that crowd building, because they're aware of the quality of competition that's happening and that's going to happen out in front of them. Oh, that was a good clearance. Eliza Meekings. And so we're trying to see what height. I think that's at 340. Is that right? So we've got Jared Neighbours throwing in the shot put. And here is Mariah Ridinui. I believe her previous mark was 577. Should be an improvement on her third round jump.
Former New Zealand Junior champion Joshua Goki in lane 6, Forbes Kennedy in 7, and Jackson Willie in lane 8.
And we've also got the women's shot put happening, so we'll be crossing over to that as we see Lexi Maples, fresh off a solid day in the hammer, jumps over to the shot put circle. And we've also got the men's 200. So it's all coming at you thick and fast. So look at this field. It's pretty quality. We've got Liam Kilby on the inside, Ben Lambert, Rylan Nume, Joseph Miller, Tommy Tapuni, Joshua Adegoke, Forbes Kennedy, and Jackson Woolley, the T38 athlete, on the outside. And they're away cleanly at the start. You can see a good start there from Joseph Miller as he goes clear of the field at the moment, trying to make up the stagger on the inside of him. Rylan Nume and Ben Lambert also running well. Let's see what sort of strength he's got. Joseph Miller, the New Zealand record holder, pulling it home. Here he comes, the last 30 metres. He's going to hang on to it. Almost jogs across the line, and punching the air was Ben Lambert, finishing nice and fast on the inside. So good, strong running. So I make it Ben Lambert coming through in second, and Rylan Nume in third, as Lillian takes down the bar again. And here's Hannah Sanderlands. She's had a wonderful day in the long jump, setting a big new PB of 6 meters 20. She's the competition leader as we go up into round 6. Trying to get.
So the results of the 200 was Miller 22.15, Lambert 22.49, and Rylan Noom, New Zealand schools champion, 22.57, local boy from Hastings in third.
So here she is, Madison Wishy, fresh off that bronze medal at the Commonwealth Games, opening up tonight. Oh, that looked pretty good. I can see the 18-metre mark out in front of where we're commentating from, and it looked like it was out beyond that 18-metre. So that's a solid start from Madison.
Yeah, so 18.21 she did in the first round. We'll see if she gets an improvement on that. We'll try and look for the board as they swing it round.
Yeah, apologies. We are into round 2 now. So she's already on the ball. throwing brilliantly early on. So remember, her personal best from the World Champs earlier this year was 1950.
So that's an 18:28 by the looks of it. And we've got the pole vault at 3:61. We're looking to see if we can get that mark. So that's where the women's pole vault's at.
All right, the women's 200 metres. Here we go. We have on the inside Juliet McKinley. We've got Millie Woodham, Shannon Geary, Shail Collette, her sister Adira Collette, Ponza Tabion Ponza, and Georgia Whiteman. So very youthful field, but very quality. The Collette sisters featured very strongly at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Champs. Now, it was Shail who took out the 100 title and Adira the 200.
That's correct, Hayden, yeah. So I'm not sure if they worked it that way, the twins, but that's the way it is.
Makes the car ride home a bit more peaceful.
Yeah, so Adira is in lane 6 and Shail in lane 5. And, of course, well-performed local Shannon Geary, who's now into her mid-20s. She's there, so she's still running for the Hastings Club.
And they're away nice and clean to start with. The Collette sisters looking very even to start with. Inside of them, Shannon Geary is also running a good bend at the start, but it looks like it might be Shail who just has the edge, the better of the bend over her sister Adira, who's got the strength over this last 50 metres. Who can hang on? Shail's just pulling away from Adira, and Shannon Geary holding strong. Shail will take the win. Adira second, Shannon Geary third.
Time for Shail there, 24:78. So we'll see if we can get some win readings as time progresses on those as well. But they'll be head wins, I would think, at the moment. 25.22 for the twin sister Adira, the National Schools champion in second there, and Shannon Geary, the local, 25.58. So that's the top three in the Women's Open 200.
So, yeah, just feeling that headwind on the way home. Now, is there a possibility that we can turn around the 100-metre sprints and get them running the other direction? Are we set up for that kind of thing here?
I'm not sure they are. We've been discussing that for the Wellington, for the Team Leisure Harcourt's Capital Classic, plus the Nationals this year, of course, because Wellington people give it a bad job for the win. But I reminded a few of the sprinters that the fastest 200-metre time recorded in New Zealand was in Wellington just late last year by someone who's running here today. That'll be Cody Wilson.
So Connor Bell back in the discus circle. He's been having a stellar start to his year. You couldn't ask for much more than to break the New Zealand senior record early in January. That's what he's done. I don't think that one will get close to his record. It's solid, but looked like it's just a tick over that 60-metre mark. Lyra Hockley out of Hawera, which of course is the next destination for a lot of these jumpers. They'll be heading to the Jumps to Music event in Hawera, which has a high jump competition and a long jump competition. And here she is, Madison Weshy. She's posted an 8:21 and 8:28. So
18.
Oh yeah, sorry, 18:28. This early in the night, and I'm already
getting tongue-tied.
Yeah. So consistent and consistently strong as well to be this time in the season already dropping that shot out beyond the 18-metre mark. Let's see what she's got in round 3.
Could be an improvement. Oh. I think it might be around mid-18s this time.
Definitely, again, out past that 18-metre mark. Oh, and it just got a little red flag.
Or did she step out? I'm not sure.
All right, this is Brianna. I think this is the last time in the long jump. Let's see what she's got.
Looking to see, looks like it's got a red, what was it? No. Yeah, it's a red flag, unfortunately for her. So, Yeah, I think some of the jumpers are having some difficulty over there in that last round. All our leading jumpers actually fouled out, so the wind conditions are proving a bit niggly for them on the back straight there.
So it still remains Brianna is in third place with the best of 5:42 that she jumped on the first round. Mariah Riranui sitting in second with a 5:77. Hannah Sanderlands in first with that 6:20. So that's the way it's standing. Incidentally, Lara Hockley dropped a good 5:18 to finish her campaign in fourth with Georgia Gibbons, the under-18 national champ, backing up again here in Hastings with a solid fifth place 5:10. And here is Mariah Riranui for the final time tonight. Can she get close to that 6:20 that Hannah Sanderlands dropped in round two? So composed on the runway is Mariah. You can see there the pole vault still at 361.
So we may have missed it. So much action going on here, isn't there, Hayden? But Connor Bell's thrown a 61.26, probably in the second round, I think, there. So the wind is flattening out the discus a little bit out there. But if we can get out to that mark you put out there during the week of 66, I'd say be real happy in these conditions. So
competition leader. So this is the
Hannah Sanderlands
final jump from Hannah Sanderlands. We still haven't had Mariah's result come through, but this woman has had the best day she's ever had in the long jump pit. She's dropped a big PB with a 6:20, and she's just been consistently up around that 6 metre mark with a 5:94, 5:95. And look at that focus and determination for the victory lap. Her final jump, so Mariah's final score came through at 5:72, so that won't change the picture. And that was also a 5:72 from Hannah Sanderlands. So that rounds up the long jump competition. Hannah Sanderlands takes it out with that 6:20. Mariah Riranui 5:77. Brianna Stevenson 5:42. Right, one field event down, and then we'll move on to the next. Now, you will hear a few starters' guns going off in the background, see some runners. There's a really cool event, a club or a locals 800-metre handicap race, which is always exciting to watch those. So the crowd will light up in about 2.5 minutes' time, no doubt, as that race comes to its conclusion.
Yeah, I think Richard Potts, meet director, gets a lot of pride out of seeing if he can get those handicaps pretty right for these youngsters, isn't it? But it's good for them. They're chasing down.
They're great events, and if anyone hasn't done one, get along to your local area club this winter, because no doubt they'll be having some sort of handicap event, and they're wonderful, because the idea is that everyone should come together all at the finish. As we see.
Well, the last runner's about to go off shortly, just out of interest in the leading runner on the handicaps, just coming into the home straight, one of the younger girls, whereas the last the older senior athlete boy is just taken off. So
and he's had to give up 300 metres to the youngsters. So, boy, that's a tough handicap. Yeah. Oh, and bowing out of the competition, I think, is that Eliza Meekings? No, that's Aria Rhodes. And straight over from the long jump, Brianna Stevenson makes an appearance in the shot put. She's having a busy old night, but always good to see. A lot of these athletes, of course, come from multi-event backgrounds, so not afraid to jump into another event. right, Connor Bell, the national record holder in the discus. What has he got this time? Heaves it out with that not ideal tailwind behind him.
Just under the 60-metre mark, I think. So he did a 61 earlier on, so leading the comp ahead of, currently ahead of Jared Neighbours with 45.64 and Max Abbott, our under-20 champion. And here the applause for the handicap 800-metre winner, young girl from Hastings. Maybe she slipped meet director Richard Potts a few dollars to get a good handicap.
Yeah, she definitely got probably a good handicap and also a very good run. So
the back marker's in the home straight though, so he's done pretty well.
Yeah, they come. Great scenes. And one of the cool things about any handicap race is you just get these wonderful sprint finishes. I remember having a sprint finish with Hamish Carson in a handicap race. Probably the only time I'll ever have that honour.
So just let you know that Madison Weshy had a foul in her third round of throw, as did Max Abbott in his in the discus throw.
So as this women's pole vault competition starts to heat up, starts to head towards the business end, we'll try to keep tabs on all the other action happening. Here's Nathaniel Sulupo. Oh, and just clipping it on the way down, unfortunately. Has been challenging, and talking to James Stain, who competed earlier in the afternoon, he mentioned just occasionally the wind swinging around to a bit of a crosswind. As we see Jared Neighbours in the discus circle. Jared's got a best of 50 metres, 0.19, but he's a decathlete. So we've got a few decathletes who are competing in various events. I know the multi-eventers love to keep the single disciplined athletes honest.
So from what we know, the bar's at 376 for the women's pole vault at the moment.
So if you can hear a bit of clattering in the background, that's some hurdles getting set up. So that'll be the next event on the track, the 100 hurdles, and then the 110 hurdles, as we see Brianna Stevenson in the shot put circle with tired legs after the 6 rounds of the long jump, no doubt.
And that's, throwing, all the power comes from the legs, so she will definitely feel the effects of that, I'm sure.
Pelasola. And that one just going outside the left-hand side of the sector. All right, so we've got some updates from the pole vault. So we can confirm Lillian Bing had a clearance at 3:31 and then missed at 3:46. Aria Rhodes, she is still alive and well in the competition with a clearance at 3:31, 3:46, 2 misses at 3:61, then a clearance, but then unfortunately 3 misses at 3:76. And we've also got Hannah Addy with a clearance at 3:61 and 1 miss, and then 3 misses at 3:76. So that leaves the door open for our 3 remaining competitors to arrive on the scene. Imogen Eris, Eliza McCartney and Olivia McTaggart to open up. So there is Eliza McCartney now. Won that famous bronze medal at the Rio Olympics. It's hard to believe it's almost 7 years ago.
It is, isn't it? And, you know, yet it's still etched in many people's memories. So.
Here she is going up. That one is not to be. So it looks to me like she's coming off a shorter run-up at the moment. So maybe just easing back into those longer run-ups. She had a good look at it.
Yeah, so it looks like the bar might be set at 4:06. So see if we get confirmation of that.
Yep, it's 06 something. I can tell you from looking across the 4:06. 5:06 wouldn't make any sense.
Not yet. In the future.
Yeah, we've got to stay hopeful. All right, back to Madison Weshy. And the glasses have come off. Interesting tactic that we're seeing here in the shot put circle. Yeah. Will they go back on? So she's sitting in the lead quite comfortably with a 18.28, and then it's a good 6 meters back to Natalia Rankinchita. And then behind her is Nadia Kumrich, who I assume will be throwing with a junior implement. But Natalia, no doubt, will be throwing the 4 kg shot along with Madison. So here she goes. The bronze medalist from the Com Games in round 4 here in Hastings. And that looked pretty good. It's definitely over 18. Looked very solid. This is going to be interesting to see how this one comes back. This girl has just been on the up and up.
Looks about
for the last 18
something,
months.
doesn't it, from here? So we won't get the expectations up, but watching the board now.
And I think they might have just fouled it. So interesting now. That's, well, I've read 18.58. So we've got a mark that's come through as 18.58. But they took that mark awfully quick. So, okay, we might be all good. 18.58, yeah. Right. All right, back to Eliza. Up she goes and over. Well over. Look at that, just like a rocket ship flying over that one. So, got all the pieces of the puzzle in place, and boy, once they are all in place, you get sent into the stratosphere off of that pole. So great to see Eliza opening up her campaign. And look at that technique. So a shorter run up, and the strength and projection that she gets off of that pole is quite astounding. She's got plenty of room to move up, and it'll be interesting to see where that woman wearing the puffer jacket just behind her opens up. She's looking like she's in no rush to get going quite yet.
So we can confirm 18.58 for Madison, which is getting up to the sort of distance that she threw at the Commonwealth Games. So she's opened up a season in good shape.
Yeah, that's absolutely impressive. So a reminder, yeah, her best which was achieved at the World Champs in Eugene last year, was 1950, and at the Com Games she threw 18.84. So, yeah, like you say, getting up into those mid-18s is definitely getting serious. And Eliza, it looks like she's doing all the jumping herself at the moment. Imogen is getting ready. You can see her wearing number 104. And it looks like the puffer jacket might be coming off now for Olivia McTaggart. So these girls have been here for most of the week, jumping on Wednesday obviously, and they're staying at the new Athlete Lodge just to the back of the stadium, which is an amazing facility, and everyone's been absolutely loving being right here at the track. No need to drive to the training facility. We've got a gym, we've got a pool, there's hockey turfs out the back. The team behind this facility here has just done a fantastic job.
So Lexi stepping up now, so she's another athlete that's had a couple of events on a plate today.
Yeah.
So currently in fourth, so she'll be wanting to push up to see if she can get ahead of ones in front of her, which are at 12.40 and 12.75. So it's probably in that same sort of range for the look of it from here.
Yeah, it gets the red flag, unfortunately. But not getting the red flag quite yet is Eliza McCartney, who will have another go at that runway. And look how still that windsock is. It's barely fluttering. We've got a bit of breeze over this side of the stadium, but I wonder if they're just nicely sheltered behind the embankment that you can see behind her. There's also a well-planted hedge. Take note. Any other groundskeepers, various tracks around the country. A well-planted hedge is much appreciated. Eliza pulling out of that one with the bar at 4.21.
Yep. So she's at the same sort of height that she did midweek. So.
Okay, Madison. She is improving throughout this competition. Opened with an 18.28, then 18.21, sorry, then an 18.28, then a foul, then that 18.58. So let's see what the Commonwealth bronze medalist has got for us in round 5. Here she goes, spinning. Does she stay in?
Red flag, unfortunately.
Red flag. I kind of want them just to measure it because it
looked pretty good, didn't it?
It did look pretty good. But you could see the way the shot really manhandled her out of the circle. It just looked like she was powering her way across the circle, and that sort of just ended up flinging her out. So we see Brianna Stevenson, who's heading up towards the 10-metre mark, hasn't hit 9.65 in the previous round.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have another presentation here. This is for the RP coaching mix.
And here is Connor Bell spinning in the discus circle, throwing that one out, heaving it out.
It looks
beyond
like
the 60-metre mark.
60, which will be probably his best throw of the night. Could be about a 62.
Here we go. Look at that power that he produces. So dynamic. And then from power to absolutely poise as he releases the discus and then just spins on that foot. Wonderful technique from Connor. He's World Youth Olympic Games, Youth Olympic Games gold medalist, Commonwealth Youth Games medalist. Now into the senior ranks and really proving that he belongs there. Liza just pulling out of that one, bar at 4:21. She's got a tougher job on her hands because she's not getting any break between jumps.
That's right.
So
she's the only one jumping at this, although looks like
yeah, it looks like Imogen might be opening up.
Yeah, I was going to say.
All right, so we've got the men's 110 hurdles going on, and this will be interesting because we've got the New Zealand record holder in this field. So we've got Alex Van Overen on the inside, Cole Gibbons in lane 2, Joseph Dunn in lane 3, Josh Woodhead lane 5. The man to keep an eye out for, Josh Hawkins in lane 6, Aaron Booth just on the outside of him, and Ethan Phillips in lane 8. So here's Imogen. What she got early on, she's got a lot straight into her business. Wow, that's a great opener, 4:21.
So that's your Commonwealth Games bronze medalist there, clearing her first height with aplomb, as she would expect. She can do 4:50, so plenty in the tank, as you say, Hayden.
Now this 110 hurdles is going to be interesting because Joshua Hawkins, he's your 7-time New Zealand champ in this event, but he's set a PB in the 100 metres recently of 10.51. That puts him 3rd in the New Zealand rankings in that year. So here he goes, running in lane 6, already out to a lead. That good, clean hurdling style. He's away from this field, pulling away, just clattering that hurdle, getting out of rhythm slightly. Can he hold it together? He does, pulls it back, and there he is. He will take it out in lane 3. Finishing nice and strong was Joseph Dunn, and also Cole Gibbons and Eliza. Looking happy, and I just look up and the bar is still where it was when she launched herself over it. So success for Eliza McCartney over at 4:51. So Joseph Dunn picked up 2nd and Cole Gibbons 3rd. Let's have another look at Eliza McCartney's successful vault at 4:21. And you can see...
She's relieved with that, isn't she?
Yeah, and once she's got those pieces of the puzzle dialed in, it just looks so effortless. And you can see the strength and potential she's got there. And it's just a matter of getting that competition experience back under her belt, getting that confidence going again. And I'm sure soon we'll be seeing the return of vintage Eliza McCartney. But no need to have any vintage form coming back because this woman is still in the form of her life. Madison Weshi, this is the final round. So standings at the moment, we've got Lexi Maples in 3rd with a 12:48 in the final round. So she just bumps her way up into 3rd place. Natalia Rankin-Cheetah, 13:46. And here is Madison Weshi, final throw of the evening. Gets it out towards 20 metres. Gets the white flag.
Throw.
Wow, there we go.
If those meter markers are indication, that's going to be a pretty nice throw. She's just landed there.
I want to say that was similar to the one that got fouled. Similar in terms of where it's landed. Let's see what they're going to give. It's got an 18 in front of it. We know that. 18:49, so just off her best for the night of 18:58. But it proves that Madison Weshi is starting her season in the right place. She is on form, she's on fire, and we're going to see a lot more from this woman this summer here in New Zealand. Wow, what a competition by Madison.
So a final result for the women's shot put with a throw of 18:58, Lady Wishy on there from Natalia.
Business is done. The glasses have gone back on, so she's obviously happy with the night, Hayden.
Love it. Yeah, the glasses are back on. Shoes going back on. Job done.
So the bar and the pole vault's now gone to 4:36, so we've got Eliza on the runway again, so we'll see how she progresses. So she's cleared 4:21 twice in the week already.
Yeah.
2 different competitions, so that's going to give her a big confidence boost, I'm sure.
Oh, and just running through that one, so that will be a miss, gets the red flag. You know, with that shorter run-up, it doesn't leave much room for error. You sort of, if you're going to pull out, you've got to pull out very, very soon. You know, I wonder if now would be an opportune time for me to jump down and possibly grab Madison before she darts off. As we see Imogen on the runway at 4:26, just pulling it down on this occasion. Daniel Salupo, 25-year-old out of Titahi Bay.
So he's currently in second in the comp, so he's gone ahead of the others at 46, 48, so in the fifth round.
All right, Connor Bell, as you can see, holding a commanding lead, as you'd expect from the New Zealand record holder. Showed such promise as a junior, and he's transferred that promise into being the best discus thrower, best male discus thrower that New Zealand has ever produced. And we're going to see a lot more from that boy. And we're going to see a lot more, I'm sure, from this young lady.
Olivia.
Here she is, opening up her campaign in the pole vault. That one is not to be, but it's a good dismount. So Olivia McTaggart has a miss for her first attempt at 4:26. 4:36, I should say.
4:36 they're at now, yeah. So, and one thing that'll be interesting for these athletes is it's cooling off a bit.
Yes,
you know, I'm pretty pleased I nipped out and got a jacket in the break. So, as they're waiting, it's making it a little more difficult.
So Connor Bell, good throw from Connor. Getting it out, it looks well beyond 60 metres, so that's a solid old throw from Connor.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if the wind's turning a little bit. Some of the flags are going a little bit of a different direction now. So
yeah, that was interesting. Maybe it's turning a bit more to the east, which may have given that a little extra flight. It's going to be fascinating what this comes through. Let's have another look at it. Winding up, releasing it. He's got a bit of a poker face, so you never really know how well it got away. But you can see there, you've got to say that's past 60 metres. So a reminder, his best is 66.14.
63.76, I think. Is that what it's come through?
Liza pulling out of that one again. So 63.76 is the confirmation for Connor. That improves his lead by a good whopping 3 metres. It won't threaten his best, which was achieved a few days ago here at this ground. But Connor Bell, he's looking good. He's got one more throw to go. We're in round 5 now.
And as we do look out here, Hayden, I think we can confirm that the wind has changed direction a little bit. The flags in the home straight are slightly heading with the runners behind them for the 100 metres, so they're going to be pretty happy about that.
This is promising. Yeah. All the 100 metres are just 100-metre runners are looking up, praying that wind turns around. It definitely feels like it's dropping. The temperatures feel like it's cooling off, which we can see and
on the far side of the track, that's beneficial for the discus throwers, but maybe where the pole vault is not so good for that. So we've got...
Okay, Imogen Harris, here she goes. Oh. She got that foot over. So bar at 4:36. So in the background, we've got the open 3,000 metres. So if you can see that happening in the background. So those three leading up the front are three boys who would expect to go well under 9 minutes today. So I believe that is William Little, Ben Bidwar and Ronan Lee doing the leading. at this stage. And Olivia McTaggart just getting herself organised and sorted, just feeling for that wind. And maybe this is a factor here for these pole vaulters. They've had a tailwind
and now they're
all
going to change.
afternoon.
So it's definitely, it will be affecting their run-ups, that's for sure.
And this is one of the challenges when you're someone like Olivia who comes in later in the competition. She will have done her warm-up in totally different conditions to what she's facing right now.
Absolutely. Yes, you can see the wind has definitely made a major change. If you look at the little windsock over there as well.
So here she goes, Olivia McTaggart. Oh, she had the height, just didn't quite project her body over. Now on screen we've got William Little wearing number 271. He's at the back there. 226 is Ben Bidwar. He's just tucked in. And then Ronan Lee is doing the pacemaking duties at the moment. And right now, look, this is pretty ideal distance running conditions with just light breezes coming out of the east. Definitely not hot. And so last year, William Little was actually second in this race, setting his PB in 8:27. So we can expect that sort of pace. Have they gone through about halfway now? So these three doing the early pacemaking duties have about 100-metre lead on the rest of the pack. And I'll quickly run through the field. We have Duke Cutts, Max Tuttle, Quincy Cutts, Lucas Martin, Max Wildboar, Luke Cameron, Harry Weatheridge, Aidan Shun, Charlie Hodgetts, Ronan Lee, Ben Bidwar, Andre McKay and William Little. So a big shout out to the Cutts boys. I had a little chat to them before they went out. They were very excited to get on the track. And Eliza, has she got one more attempt? Yeah, so Imogen and Eliza and Olivia all have 2 misses at 4:36. So this is obviously crucial. But Eliza has already had 5 misses tonight. She cleared second time at 4:06. She cleared third time at 4:21. And now she's on her third attempt at 4:36. Can she clear it? Here she is. Up
yes.
and over, yes. Eliza McCartney, the bronze medalist from Rio, is back in business here in Aotearoa in 2023.
As you say, she's doing all that off a very short run-up for her, isn't she? If you think of where she's taken off compared to her rivals, Olivia and Imogen. So she'll be wrapped with that, I'm sure.
Here we go, Connor Bell, the man of the moment, the first national record to drop this year. Dropped very early indeed, just last Wednesday, with Connor Bell breaking the senior men's record. He's got the chalk on his hands.
And I remember you chatting at the New Zealand schools about how many national records might go in 2023.
Yeah.
Hayden, did you mark this one down?
I think this was definitely one that was a potential out there. I didn't think it would go at this time of year. But no, there's a few records that are there for the taking. And obviously those athletes who are still competing and currently own a national record. You know, can Zoe push on in her national record? Could we see Eddie push on? Here we go. Last throw from Connor Bell. Heaves it out. Looks like it's out towards that 60-metre mark. It won't improve his standing, but he's had a good week here in Hastings. He'll be over the moon with how it's gone. And look, sporting a beautiful little moustache as we hit the last lap of this 400 metres. It still remains Ronan Lee, Ben Bidwar and William Little. Ronan Lee has had to do a fair amount of the work at the front. Ben Bidwar just coming up into his shoulder, and just as I say that, William Little, big kick on the back straight, looking like he's going to drop these two. Ben Bidwar doing a good job of trying to stay with him, and here we go. This is a crucial vault. Oh no, Imogen just bringing it down. So she will bow out of the competition as we see William Little out of the Whippets Running Project, the 24-year-old. He's doing his best, gritting his teeth, trying to pull away from Ben Bidwar, and he will do so. William Little steaming home, turning that second place last year into a win this year. 8:23, fabulous time.
It's a good time for him. He'll be pretty happy with that, I'm sure.
And it looks like all behind him, it's all PBs as well. Ben Bidwar dipped under 8:30. Ronan Lee, it's about a 7-second PB for him. So wonderful running from those three. And they'll definitely have to be buying drinks or buying dinner for Ronan Lee, who did a lot of the pacemaking duties, dragged them to a fast time. Now, back to the pole vault, because this is crucial. This is the battle that we wanted to see. These three women going head-to-head in the pole vault. With Eliza's absence for the last couple of years, it's allowed Olivia and Imogen to shine and claim some national titles between the two. But now the Queen's back.
Yeah, so that's her best.
She wants her title back.
It's her best since back in June 2019, since she's done better than that. So it's been a long haul for her. So, you know, and it creates a lot of resilience to keep at it, doesn't it? So it's a great effort. Good to see. So we'll see how Olivia can go.
Here she goes. So that wind has died down. This is the final jump. In 4:36, Olivia McTaggart up. Oh. No, she's clipped it. She's clipped it. She will bow out of the competition.
So the win will go to Eliza McCartney.
There we go. So Eliza McCartney takes it with a 4:36. We'll wait and see whether she progresses. I imagine she'll just take the win and move on from here. But Imogen Eris, she will finish in second place with that 4:21. Unfortunately, Olivia McTaggart gets a no height after she opened at 4:51. So you'd think opening at 4:36 tonight would have been a shoo-in. But
tricky conditions and cooler conditions as well. I'm not sure what the temperature is at the moment, but it's probably about 18 degrees the way it feels up here anyway.
Yeah, it's not single layer weather. You can kind of see up on the embankment. There's a few shorts, a few T-shirts going around, but they're sort of more in the sheltered part of the ground. Over here in the grandstand, it's more like long sleeves kind of weather. As we see Lucas Martin, he is walking the 3,000 metre. He was having a chat to me earlier and saying, I'm going to walk the run. And I'll probably get lapped multiple times, but awesome. He's really is one of the up-and-coming juniors to keep an eye out for, and seniors. He's going to transfer into the senior ranks very soon. And as you can see by the time, it's 11:20 as he went through the bell. So he'll be coming in for a time under 13 minutes for the 3K, which is moving when you're walking. There's no doubt about that. Right, we have some heats coming at you for the 100 metres. We've got 3 heats, and then we have a final later on tonight. And look at this lineup. It's quality. We've got Kurt Sweeney on the inside, Tyron Trago. Tommy Tapuni is a scratching. He's going to focus on the 400 tonight. Tian Welpton is back this season after some hammy problems last season, and he's looking fit too. Jackson Rogers, Cole Gibbons, back from the pole vault earlier this afternoon, and Angus Liver from Palmerston North will run on the outside. So that's your lineup for the first of these heats. As Lucas Martin comes around the bend for the last time in the 3,000 metre walk. I imagine it's not being judged. Yeah, I imagine Lucas's race isn't being judged, but a good training bout for him, and it looks like he's going to dip under that 13-minute mark. Gets a good clap from the crowd. And the great thing about Lucas is he's going to cross the finish line and then go and put on his officials gear and go straight back to work helping run this event. So Lucas, well done, great job. Race is done, but the night isn't done because he'll still have a few more duties to fulfill.
He's one of the big contributors to our sport, isn't he? So he's a good lad to have, and he's good to see him progressing his walk, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it was Lucas and the young boy, trying to remember, Jonah Cropp, that's right. They had a great battle at the New Zealand secondaries, and you can't have a sprint finish in a race walk. That would be illegal, but it was pretty close. There was only a couple of seconds separating at the line at the 3,000 metres. Jonah Cropp taking it just ahead of Lucas Martin, but that was very exciting. And there, that man sitting on number 5, that lane marker, Tian Welpton. We saw him last year open up on this track with 10.09, was it? With that very strong tailwind.
Yeah. And then he had that unfortunate hamstring at the Nationals, wasn't it? Yeah. So it was spoiled.
So he knows how to run fast on this track. And this is one of the events that I've been looking forward to this weekend. Seeing what sort of form Tian is in. He dropped a lightning fast 10.14 at the Lovelock Classic, but that was with a 3.6 tailwind. But here we go. Bill Quigley, Tyron Trogo, Tian Welpton, Jackson Rogers, Cole Gibbons, and Angus Leiber. So Tian is away super fast, getting those knees up so quick. Look at that drive all the way to the finish. My gosh. Oh, my goodness. So boy, has he come here to play. He got out of the block super strong, and then once he was up to speed, I love his form when he's at full flight.
It's coming up as 10.18, the official time, or as official, we'll get it confirmed, but 10.18, very impressive. So it'll be good to know what the wind's doing there now, because it's definitely turned, hasn't it? So
well, I think we've got 0.4, so that will equal his personal best. Now look at that. Look at how fast he is out of the blocks. He already had a metre within the first 10.
And the guy in lane 3, Tyron Trogo, I mean, he's a national schools champion, so he's not as if he's an athlete that's not capable of running well. So that's an impressive run in heat 1 of the heats for the 100 here tonight.
Let's just say, watch this space, because there is more to come from that boy, Tian Welpton. Hit that share button and let your friends know that this boy is running hot, and the wind is turning more and more to a tailwind. That was a slight tailwind. So conditions, despite being a little bit cool, are going to actually be pretty favourable for these sprinters, blowing them down this home straight. Well,
it's flicking around those flags out there, isn't it? So it's going to be a bit of a luck of the draw on these heats. So there's I think we've got 3 heats, and there's a final later on for these 100-metre runners. So it'll be the first 2 in each of the heats, and then the next fastest 2 athletes to qualify. So in the next heat, we'll give a call. It's Cody Wilson out of the Mana Club in lane 2. Zach Saunders from Pakuranga out of in lane 3. And he represented one of the smaller countries at the Commonwealth Games from memory. I just can't remember the name of the country, but he did.
Was it Jersey?
Jersey, that's right. One of the small islands.
One of the Channel Islands.
Yeah. Joseph Miller, good to see him back at this meet today. In lane 4 from Tauranga. Liam Kilby from Hastings in 5, the local. Jackson Woolley, our T38 para-athlete, who's been setting a number of records in lane 6. James Robinson from the Hamilton City Hawks in 7, and Lex Rebel-Lewis out of Waitakere in lane 8. So
yeah, keep an eye on Lex. He's a 10.8 runner, but he's also your under-20s 400-metre champ. He's diverse. He's got a fast 800-metre time, and he's a talented young lad. But all eyes on lane 4 to see what Joseph Miller can do. And whether Zach Saunders can stick with him as well. So here we go. Away quickly was Zach Saunders. And next to him was Cody Wilson. Got a good start, but here goes Joseph Miller getting up to speed. Cody Wilson hanging on now. Cody Wilson will take it. Wow.
Zach Saunders finished very strong on the inside there as well, didn't he? So obviously looks like maybe they were slowing up. It is a heat, so maybe Joseph eased back, but he might have only placed third there. So times come through for this heat is Cody Wilson 10.79, Joseph Miller 10.92, just holding on to second ahead of Zach Saunders 10.98. So it'll be interesting to see. And their wind was a headwind of 0.7.
So great start from Zachary Saunders, and then Cody Wilson, once he got into that work, sort of in that second phase, really pulled away. And like you say, Joseph Miller just pulling up a bit. There you can see Lex on the outside coming through for fourth place. So 10.79 for Cody Wilson. And we've got one more heat to go. There's the field, Charles Royal, Hayato Yonito, Ben Lambert, Rylan Nume back after the 200 metres, Josh Woodhead, Hamish Gill, Joshua Adegoke and Josh Hawkins backing up his win in the 110 hurdles.
Yeah, so he probably wasn't too happy with his 110 hurdles. It's that bit of a stumble and time wasn't overly quick. So to come back here, and the other two athletes, well, we've seen Ben Lambert and Rylan Noom already go in the 200, as you said, and then, of course, we've got Hamish Gill, who's had a good early season race. I think it was last weekend up north. So looking forward to this. Is a pretty strong heat, actually. There is Hamish Gill.
Yeah, Hamish Gill, 400-metre champ.
Not so sure about the kit there, but
years ago. Yeah, love the stripy shorts. So, yeah, Hamish has been dabbling in the 400 metres for the last couple of seasons. I wonder if he is going to switch back to maybe his first love, which was the 100 and the 200. He's got a 10.40 PB at his best. And he's also got a 20.91 200 metre PB. So let's wait and see what he can produce. Looks like lane 4 is empty, so Rylan Nume and
so he ran very quick in Hamilton, wasn't it, this last week? So here they go.
All right, and they're away cleanly. Good start there from Josh Hawkins. Inside of him, Hamish Gill gets into his work. Hamish Gill now pulling away. He's going to take the win, and also a good run there from Hayato Yonito on in lane 2. Looked like he might have just got second, but that fantastic start, as you'd expect from a 110 hurdler from Josh Hawkins on the outside. We'll get a good look at this replay from the stream shot. The team out there doing a great job in the field, bringing these pictures. Beautiful strong technique there from Hamish Gill, getting up to speed and then just backs off, jogs over the line, and just sneaking through was Josh Hawkins for that second place.
So he ran 10.58 into a headwind of 1.0 metres per second, so that was a stronger wind than Heat 2, and Josh Hawkins is second, 10.74, and Aito Neto 10.79 is third. So it looks like Ben Lambert might have an opportunity to get in there with a 10.89 and fourth as well. So it'll be good to see what those final ranks come up.
So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because we skip right over to the heats of the 100 metres. We've got 3 heats for the women's 100. Earlier in the week, we were expecting to maybe have 4 heats, but it's been culled down to the 3. So there on screen, we've got Sarah Pierce running in lane 2, Shail Collette coming back after that great 200 metres, Sophie Hancock, Georgia Hulls, Danielle Aitchison, our T36 athlete, and Abby Goldie. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up. I've got the wrong start list in front of me.
Looks like this one here is possibly the
right.
lineup.
Yeah, sorry. Right, okay. Let me start that again. So we've got on the inside Shannon Geary, Brooke Summerfield, Georgia Whiteman, Alexandra Domansky, Portia Bing, Great to see her lining up in the 100 metres. There she is on the left of the screen. Neve Gidye, Georgia Hulls and Hannah Sanderlands. So Georgia Hulls, the 200 metre national champion.
Rep at the World Champs, so home girl from Hastings. I'm sure the crowd will be behind Georgia, but it'll be good to see up against Portia in this heat.
Heat 1 of the women's 100 metres here at the Potts Classic. Away fast was Brooke Summerfield in lane 2, running really well. Georgia Hulls is looking good as well on lane 7. It's going to be very close between those two. Portia Bing not too far behind, and also running well, Shannon Geary in lane 1. So good start from Brooke Summerfield. And then Georgia Hulls got into her work and looked very even from the two of them as we focus on Portia Bing, our world champs representative in the 400 hurdles, national record holder in the 400 hurdles. Great to see her stepping down into the 100, working on that speed. But look at that power from Brooke and Georgia. Once she gets up to speed, her wheels really get going.
So winning time there, 11:83, and it was another headwind as well. So
wow.
It was, so the wind of the first heat of the men's 100 with Town Welfare, he was lucky he got the tailwind, and the rest have all been head. So it just shows you it's a bit of a fickle conditions out here at the moment.
That is actually surprising. It feels, you know, where we're sitting in the grandstand, that it's mostly a tailwind, but it just seems to be quite variable.
Yeah, it's probably a little bit more cross than anything, isn't it? So which doesn't, you can see the flags, plus the windsock halfway down the 100 metre straight there, or at about the 70 metre mark. It's definitely coming across. So.
All right.
Another good lineup here with our young ladies. One of the young ladies, Shail, who took out the 200 up in lane 6. So some of these athletes have already been in the action tonight. George Gibbons is in lane 2, Sarah Pearce, lane 1. Hannah McPherson, a local from Hastings. Simone Tafunai from North Harbour with Livy Wilson. It's run well early season. From Harbour in lane 5, Shail Collette, National Schools Champion in 6. Daniel Aitchinson, our para-athlete in 7 from the Hamilton Hawks, and Tamsin Harvey out of Kiwi Club from Wellington in lane 8.
So Danielle, bronze medalist in Tokyo in this event. Silver in the 200. There we go. We've got Livy Wilson next to her, Simone Tafanai. And out very quick was Livy, out of the block, super fast, getting up to speed. Simone is trying to stay with her, but Livy is just pulling away. She's so strong this summer. Absolutely just pulling away from the field was Livy Wilson.
Looking very powerful, wasn't she? Very impressive there. Speaking to Livy when she came in, and she was hoping that the wind would die, so it was good. And likewise had a chat to Daniela Aitchinson's coach, Alan McDonald, and they're off over to Canberra in the next week or so to get her classified so she can continue. They're part of the para-athletes, as they have to be classified by world bodies to compete on and that has to happen over in Canberra apparently.
So really interesting there. You got Livy Wilson, current bronze medalist, and next to her Simone, former bronze medalist from the year before, just trying to stay with her. So Livy takes the win.
It's 11:92, but it was ahead of 2.6, so you can see the wind's picking up in the straight again. It's definitely swirled back around, so that little lull we had before is quite different.
So fast running already. These women running well under 12 seconds, and that's into a headwind in the early stages of the competition. And you can see the boys getting warmed up for the shot put.
Kevin Smith, if you could just make your way to the presentation. We're after the 3 place winners for the men's discus.
That shot put competition's promising to be very, very interesting. No Tom Walsh and no Jack O'Gill, but a lot of boys that want to keep the other two honest and chase them. All right, so we've got Aponza, Tubby on Ponza, Rosie Elliott, Adira Collette, Sophie Hancock, A.B. Goldie, Talia Van Ruin, Vanessa Hodge, and Verda Kestrup. So away strongly is Rosie Elliott, the 400-metre national champion. She's pulling away from the field. Looking good is Talia Van Ruin and Abby Goldie as well. But it is all about Rosie Elliott in lane 2, looking strong, looking fast. And wow, she had a fantastic weekend here last year. She won the 400, second in the 200, and second in the 100 at the national champs. That's how you do a sprint national champs.
So 11.73 for Rosie, and her wind was ahead 0.6. So it's moving around, isn't it, compared to 2.7 in the heat before. So Talia Van Ruin was second, 12.14, and Abby Goldie got third with 12.15, with Adira Collette 12.32.
So the men's long jump competition is about to kick off. We've got Angus Liver, Shay Veach, Lewis Arthur, Aaron Booth, Josh Woodhead, Stephen Thorpe, Forbes Kennedy, Jordan Peters, and Jack Bryan lining up. So this is actually a pretty quality looking field. Shay Veach has been having an extremely solid summer after last summer setting a big PB and then having some injury woes. It looks like so far for Shay Veach, he is looking healthy and strong, looking pretty quick too.
Yeah, I feel like for our viewers, I'm happy to run through the top 8 of the men's, so we know who they're coming back for the final. It's Welton, Gill, Wilson, Hawkins, Liver, Miller, Ionetto and Jackson Rogers out of the Aspiring Athletics Club in down the Queenstown Way. He qualified as the 8th qualifier, just ahead of Ben Lambert and Tyrone Trego. So it's pretty sharp competition in those men's 100-metre heats.
Absolutely.
And I can probably tell you the women's will be finalised by now as well. So Rosie Elliott, Georgia Hulls, Livy Wilson, Brooke Summerfield, Talia Van Ruin, Shail Collette, Abby Goldie, and Portia Bing will be the final for the women's 100. So.
Now the women's discus features some names that many locals may not know, but in the international discus scene they'll be very well known. So that is Taryn Golashewski from Australia and Jade Laley from Great Britain. That is your silver medalist from the Commonwealth Games with Jade Laley, and Taryn picked up 4th place. So they've come over to take part in this competition, and we've also got alongside of them Caitlin Mitchell, Savannah Sheen, Natalia Rankinchita, Michaela Sola, Iorana Tafili, Nora Quigley, Tatiana Komoana, and Ella Hogan and Taya Lewis. So as that competition gets underway.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just grab your attention. We now have a presentation for the Hastings Harrier Club's men's discus throw. Representing Hastings Athletics is Mark Hollins. And his height is 12 foot. Anyway, in 3rd place, with a throw of 46.48, representing Te Whahi Bay Athletics, Nathaniel Sulapore.
In second place, with a throw of 47.96, representing Corona Athletics, Nat Tellers. And title winner for 2023, representing North Harbour Bays, with a throw of 63.76, Connor Bell.
So there it is. There's your top 3 place getters in the men's discus. Connor Bell, New Zealand record holder, gives them the big thumbs up.
And it was interesting to see Max Abbott come through and nab second place with his final throw there. So the under-20 champion pulled it out to get on the podium there. Sign of a good young competitor, isn't it? He came from 4th to pick that up by the looks of it in that final round.
Pretty impressive.
That's good to see.
So this is going to be a fascinating competition with the 2 internationals taking on the best of the Kiwis. And lining up first will be Savannah Sheen, who has had multiple medals across junior and senior ranks in the discus. And back to the long jump. And Savannah getting it out beyond the 40-metre mark. Her best is 54.48. That was achieved back in 2021. It'll be really interesting to see how the local girls respond to having the Aussie and the Brit competing alongside them.
It will be really good for them because you know we've had some strong women's discus throwers, but at the moment Tatiana Kalmoana is sort of the top of our ladies.
So Natalia Rankinchita looked like it was close to the 50-metre mark, but gets the red flag. And Michaela Sola, I've seen a fair amount of her today already. She's been a busy young lady.
It's the third throw of the night, I think so, yeah.
Why not?
Next up on the track is the men's B 400 metres. Joshua Taylor in lane 1, Jacob Kilmister in 2, Matthew Eady 3.
So Michaela back in the New Zealand secondaries picked up the silver medal in the discus throw, taking out the hammer throw in that competition. So it's always great to see these throwers plying their craft across the various rotational throws.
Well, especially the young throwers, because you know they're still only in their development stages, aren't they? And so you know it's good to keep their options open. And you probably remember even the likes of Dame Val. She was doing shot and a little bit of hammer actually in the early days. I remember. I think even if it was at secondary school level before she. I'm not sure she ever did the discus. I can't recall that, but she definitely has done that.
So Irana Tafili, and I think that one hit the net. Yeah. Now I think we were going through the hammer throw all time. There we go. We've got it right in front. So sitting number 6 all time in New Zealand is Valerie Adams with a 58.32. So
right.
There you go in the hammer throw. So. Wow. I'll click over to the discus and see if we can do some comparison there as we prepare ourselves for the 400 metres.
So the lane draws on our screen, which is interesting to see where the action comes. There's some athletes that will be a pretty even field. I think Aidan Porritt may be one of the leading performers there. Nat Kirk's been running pretty well in representing New Zealand secondary schools, as has Kaharangi Kororal.
So here is Tatiana Komoana. Picked up the bronze at the national champs here back in March. And the bronze last year at the national champs as well. In 2020, it was 4th. So let's see what she's got today, opening up her campaign. Just clatters the cage.
Yes, I thought I heard a clatter as well. And now we've got the gun for the 400.
All right, so this is the first of our 400. So this is the B final for the men. Then we're going to click through to the women's B final. So a lot of our top juniors coming up through the ranks, featuring in this one.
I think it's Kaharangi Kororal out in lane 5, leading by the looks of it.
Yeah, definitely lane 5. So Kaharangi running really well, wearing number 232, coming onto the home straight with a bit of a clean track in front of him. Outside of him, Aidan Porritt also running well, as is Flynn Johnston, but it is Kaharangi Kororal who will hang on. Kaharangi, there he goes, just dipping under 50 seconds.
Looks like Nat Kirk will come through in the New Zealand school singlet for 3rd place there.
Well, impressive running there from Kaharangi Kororal.
50.08 was his official winning time, with Porritt 51.18 and Nat Kirk 51.55.
Shay Veach flying through the air. How about that speed on the runway? Let's have another look at this. I love the energy this boy brings to the sport. Look at him, just all aggression and energy on the board. And look at the little fist bump. Was that a fist bump? Half fist bump. This is going to be interesting to see how this one comes through. So Shay Veach opened up with a 7.28. He's in the lead at the moment. Aaron Booth behind him. And then Jordan Peters, the 3-time national champ, sitting in 3rd place. So Shay with a 7.28, just got improved to a 7.33. And 6.82 for Aaron Booth, 6.41 for Jordan Peters. This is Lewis Arthur, the 24-year-old out of North Harbour.
This is our first Australian, is it? On the
yeah, this is Taryn Golshoyski. So 4th place at the Commonwealth Games this year.
You see the speed of across the circle with her, wasn't it? That looks like it's just under the 60-metre mark, so it'll be interesting to see what that comes out.
All right, here's Aaron Booth, national decathlon champion. Good hang technique. Beautiful, just floating through the air. Currently sitting in 2nd. I had a chat to Aaron. He's actually working with the FIFA World Cup in sort of an event management role, and so he's focusing on job priorities at the moment, just pulling back to competing in the odd event rather than all 10 decathlon events, so fair enough. Yeah, this is Jade Laley. So this is the silver medalist from the Commonwealth Games. So great to have an athlete of this pedigree coming across all the way to New Zealand and getting that discus early on out towards 60 metres,
very
just
close
casual
to
as you like.
The preceding throw of Taryn Kolszewski, who threw 59.07, so we'll see what that comes up. It's going to be a close competition between these two young ladies, I'd say, Hayden, which will give us some good intrigue. So she's taken the lead 59.37, so 30 centimetres ahead of her rival from Australia. And we've got the women's 400, if you hear that in the background on the track.
Forbes Kennedy on the long jump runway.
So I'll go through the field. It's Vanessa Hodge, Palmerston in 1, Georgia Rope 2 from Hastings, Sydney Evans Tabata from Kiwi in 3, Anna Tucker from Harbour Bays in 5, Sophie Hancock, New Zealand Schools in 6, Georgia Rose Boyd out of Hamilton Hawks in 7, and Georgia Whiteman in lane 8. So it looks like out in the middle of the track it could be Sophie Hancock.
Yeah, it looks like Sophie Hancock's got the good early running.
Out in about lanes 5 or 6, isn't she? So she's leading them in.
Yeah, so it is Sophie Hancock with that good lead coming into the home straight. She's got a good lead ahead of Anna Tucker behind her, but finishing nice and strong and looking really composed at this stage in the race. She shouldn't look composed, but she is. And wonderful run there, 57 seconds and change. So Sophie Hancock takes the win. And like we saw in the previous race, it was the youngster, the 17-year-old, giving it to some of the older athletes.
So official time there, 57.86, ahead of Tucker, 59.70, and Georgia Rose Boyd out of the Hamilton City Hawks Club, 60.36 over the top 3 in that women's B400. We have those elite men's 400 up next with the women to follow.
So this women's discus competition, the two internationals have broken away up to the 59-metre mark. Sitting in third place is Savannah Sheen with the 51.01. Here's Michaela Sola. She is in fifth place at the moment with a 35.28. And that looks like that'll be an improvement out towards that 40-metre marker.
Looks like we've got a replay there of Napier athlete Jack Bryan, I think it is.
Jack got a foul in round 1, so yet to get a mark on the score sheet.
I'm not sure if we picked up, but the result for Aaron Booth was a 6.96, so just under the 7-metre mark, that jump we saw on screen earlier.
Yeah, so Shay Beach is still in the lead with this one, and good to see Jackson Woolley backing up his running and now into the long jump. So he's the only para competitor that we've got competing in this, but has a 4.02 in round 1. Just 17 years of age is Jackson. And lots more to come from this boy. He loves his athletics and he's just on the up and up. Nora Quigley now. 18 years of age, out of Christchurch. We saw her in the hammer. As we skip back to the long jump. So we're now into round 3. So standings at the moment, Shay Beach is got a commanding lead with a 7.33. And then behind him, Aaron Booth, that's 6.96. And then Lewis Arthur is in third with a 6.88. So for Angus Liver just there, 6.67. Here is Shea Beach. Personal best of 783. And I know this boy is on a mission to get up towards that 8-metre mark. Here he goes. See the energy that he brings. He comes off a very long run up. And so far, these guys have just been hitting mostly headwinds. See the flight that he gets. So that 8-metre mark is certainly a magical mark, and just beyond that 8-metre mark is one of the oldest New Zealand records with Bob Thomas's 1968.
So he's improved there with the 7:49.
Yeah,
so
good.
That's, he'll be pleased.
So Bob Thomas's 1968 record is 8:05. So that's been around, do the maths, 53 years, almost to the day. Wow. You know, there's a couple of New Zealand records that you've just got to have a lot of admiration for. Obviously, the 800.
Yes,
800.
I've got to say that comes to mind to me straight away. Peter Snell's 800-metre record. Maybe we'll see James Preston grab that sometime in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
And or Brad Mathis, I guess. Could, you know, they keep competing against each other. That's what usually edges these marks down, isn't it? When you've got a couple of...
and there's a couple of other Jameses not too far behind him as well. With James Harding and James Ford now, who's just finished up high school. So here's Aaron Booth. He's sitting in second place, just 4 centimetres off that 7-metre mark. Let's see what he's got in round 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another presentation here. We'll try and squeeze it in 2 minutes before the next race. And this is for the 2 Matildas women's.
So the men's shot put. This is going to be fascinating how this one unfolds. We've got Nathaniel Sulupo, Cooper Killick, Liam Natchok-Wolf, Max Abbott, Nick Palmer, Jared Neighbours, Cooper McDougall, and Blessing Sefor. So a lot of juniors, and then a lot of juniors who've just become seniors. So it's going to be fascinating. The likes of Liam Natchok-Wolf, he really dominated the junior grades, now using the senior implement and starting to improve that PB as he goes. But you've got to think that Nick Palmer, the local boy...
I said a PB earlier this week. I think he's in the throws competition. I'll just check that out. I'm pretty sure that he set a new PB.
Now look at the smile on Eliza's face, because
this will be
this will be a smile of satisfaction that all that hard work, those physio trips, all those calf raises that you got to do with Achilles problems. I know she's looked at nutrition, she's looked at all sorts of things, and to be back competing now and looking pretty healthy and to get a win. Must feel pretty special for Eliza. So welcome back, Eliza. Awesome to have those 3 women on the podium together. What a sight. And what a sight from our
visiting discus
visiting discus throwers. Our official there doing the retrieving has to do a lot of work. It's good 60-odd metres to retrieve that discus every time.
See, as we're focusing in on the shot putters, Nick Palmer, the local from Hastings, who's training down in Christchurch now through 19.16 or 19.16. A new PB at the meet during the week here that the throwers had while in camp, so he'll have been delighted with that. So having these guys, Nick Palmer, Ryan Ballantyne, and then, as you've mentioned, Liam Wolf, all chasing our leading 2, Tom and Jacko. It's great for New Zealand shot putting for the future years.
All right, so the 400 metre, this is the A race, and this is going to be a goodie. We've got Stephen Thorpe on the inside, Troy Middleton in lane 2, Josh Ledger will run in lane 3, Lex Revel-Lewis will run in lane 4. We saw him in the 100 metres earlier. Tommy Tapuni, he's focusing on the 400. This is exciting news. I've often thought he'd make a great 400-metre runner. Zach Saunders, also, let's see what he's got after that 100 metres. Jackson Rogers, Finn O'Sullivan, 1. This is going to be an absolutely cracking 400 metres. Let's see how it unfolds. Looking pretty even early on. Maybe making a little bit of a move was Lex Rebel Lewis there. And Tommy Tapuni looking good. Definitely making up a lot of that stagger. There he is wearing number 321. Tommy Tapuni, he's right up on his toes. You can see that good composed high knee drive run that he's got inside of him, looking pretty good, as well as Josh Ledger.
Yeah, lane 3, and then lane 4.
Now,
Lewis.
What's he got? What's he got on the home straight? Tommy Tapuni, has he got the speed endurance in his legs to carry him all the way to the finish? Tommy Tapuni, he's driving the arms, he's sucking in the oxygen. He will make it to the finish in the lead. What a time!
What a time!
Wow!
Wow, Dad will be happy about that, won't he? He came up here to tell me he wasn't going to run the 100 and he's going to concentrate on his 400 tonight, so that's a great result for him.
We haven't had a runner under 47 seconds for quite a while.
47.23, not a bad effort. There we go. Tommy
mighty
Tapuni.
Close in not ideal conditions. Tommy Tapuni, 47.23. Lex Rebel Lewis, he hung on to second place, 48.49. Zachary Saunders, 48.63. And look at those legs just hanging together all the way to the finish. Wow. And a lot of guys lining up in that 48 sort of range as well. So a lot of drama over that last 100 metres.
So that tops the rankings for this year and stacks up pretty good from last year as well. So that's a great effort by young Tommy Tapuni. That's a new PB for him. He ran a 47.52 in 2022. So that's a great start.
So last year, Liam Webb, who's based in Australia, dropped to 46.96. So he was the only one under 47 seconds. But then no one broke 47 in 2021. No one broke 47 in 2020. And it was Bailey Stewart who went under 47 in 2019. So getting into rarefied air in terms of New Zealand 400 metre running, getting down into those low 47s. But I am excited about this next race on the track, the women's 400 metres, because there are some big names lining up in this one as well. It looks to me like it could be a New Zealand 400 metre final when we look at especially the middle few lanes. But we have plenty of action to keep us busy in the meantime as we skip back to the discus. Now we're into round 3 here, and standings are Jade Laley from Great Britain has a 59.37, so she's in the lead, just 30 centimetres ahead of Taran Golshevsky. And then Savannah Sheen is the leading Kiwi with a 53.18, so good solid third throw from Savannah. Tatiana Komoana has a 52.40. Talia Rankinchita with a 46.38, and Michaela Sola is currently sitting in 6th place with a 38.61. All right, so this women's field, we have Maddie Kelso Heap on the inside, Emily Fairclough in lane 2, Isabel Neal in lane 3, Rosie Elliott lane 4, Portia Bing lane 5, Mia Powell in lane 6, Brianna Stevenson in lane 7, she's had a busy old day, Emma Osborne in lane 8. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a race. Portia Bing, she's the 400 metre New Zealand record holder. Next to her is Rosie Elliott, the New Zealand 400 metre champion. And then outside of them is the women's under 20 400 metre champion and Mia Powell. So how is this going to unfold?
So yeah, just correct. So Portia Bing's the 400 metre hurdles.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Record holder.
Yeah, sorry. Put everyone wrong there.
Yeah, that's all right.
Crucial.
Excitement here building, but yeah, she's right on the tail of last year.
Just keeping you on your toes there, Tony.
Not far behind Rosie Elliott on the rankings last year. Rosie Elliott's best 52.59 was Portia Bing's best at 52.78. And then Izzy Neal at 52.79. So they're a real clutch of girls in that 52 bracket.
I'm looking at the top 13 400 metre runners from last year, and 12 of them ran PBs last year in New Zealand. So that gives you an idea of how this event has just been on the up and up over the last 12 months. So great to see Portia back on the flat 400.
Yep, so Izzy Neal in lane 3, Rosie Elliott in lane 4, and Portia Bing was where all the action we'd expect to come in this race, but you never know.
And we're away here in the A race of the 400 metres at the 2023 Potts Classic. It's looking like a pretty even start, maybe making up some of that stagger. Yeah, Izzy Neal and Portia Bing got away to a good start as well. She will get into her work on the back straight as Rosie Elliott starts to make her presence felt just on the inside of her.
Isn't it?
So it is Rosie Elliott coming up on the shoulder of Portia Bing. Portia Bing staying strong. Izzy staying strong. There's not much to separate these three, to be honest. Mia Powell not showing too much on the inside, but still looking pretty good. Portia Bing will have the lead as they come off the bend. What has Rosie got? Can she bring home the 400 speed that she showed last year? Here she is, Rosie Elliott. She will take the lead. She will take the win here at the Potts Classic. What a finish from Rosie.
Good time as well.
Rosie Elliott first,
Tick over
Portia
53
Bing
odds.
second, Isabel Neal third. Fantastic racing. Boy, Tony Rogers, she really saved us for the last 100 metres.
There was a few strategies going on there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
With the early start by Izzy, and then Portia lengthened out, and then Rosie evened out by the 200 again, and then the strength came through, and the experience of running 400s probably like that. So 53.43 to Elliott, Bing 54.17, Mia Powell coming through as you picked at 54.73 ahead of Izzy Neal, who just faded a little, maybe paid for that really strong first 100 she started with.
Wow, so great racing there. When we're talking about the quality of the field, the two top finishers both ran at the World Champs. Portia Bing, of course, over the hurdles on the one lapper. Rosie Elliott doing the flat 400 at the World Champs just a couple of weeks after having COVID, which is pretty impressive going. So that was absolutely electric 400 metres, and it goes to show the 400 metres is not over until you get into that last 50 metres, and all sorts of things can happen in that last 50 metres, as we know from the namesake of this event. Sylvia Potts famously meeting the track just a few metres short of winning a famous medal. So there we are, Jordan Peters, three-time New Zealand long jump champ, sporting the ponytail and the cap. Love it.
Almost a Steve Adams look about Jordan Peters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Eh?
So as an update in that long jump competition, we're into we're into round 4. So we've rearranged the order, and so Jordan Peters has moved himself up into 4th place with that jump of 6.68, but it still remains Shay Veach with the lead, Aaron Booth in 2nd, Lewis Arthur in 3rd. And over in the women's discus, we've got Taya Lewis.
Tatiana Kalmoana's moved into 3rd spot with her recent throw of 53.71, just ahead of Savannah Sheen, who was previously in 3rd. So
good little battle with the Kiwi girls there.
Yep.
Always good to see. So, yeah, Tatiana Kalmoana getting that big PB last year, that 56.51 at the ITM. I believe that was in extremely windy conditions. Do you remember last year at the international track meet in Christchurch?
I don't want to say anything about Napunawai in terms of
it
wind.
Probably was. Poor Napunawai. I'm sure there'll come a day where it's perfect conditions. But all right. In the shot put,
Hanning. Corin Hanning, our para athlete, and who performs very well against able-bodied athletes.
Corin's already got an 11.62. Also in the para division of this men's shot put is Zach Lappin, F37 athlete. And Here's Aaron Booth just ejecting out of that one. Takes a knee.
Next field over the advance of the C women's full 800 metres. Atkinson, Sophie Dennett Welch, Peter Wayne.
All right, Nathaniel Salupo, 25-year-old out of Titahi Bay Athletics. Pretty solid.
Yeah, it looks around the 15 metre range, and he's through 15:45 during the week, so that's about what we'd expect to see from him.
Right, so we've got a few 800 metres to get through tonight. This is the C race. So in this race, running there in lane 3, we've got Alia Atkinson, we've got Sophie Dennett Welch, Emma Osborne, Nikita Wayne, Jamie Dennett Welsh, and Zara Ford and Paige Dobson, as they all come together.
So just another call there, we can present the 3 place winners for the women's long jump. It's Hannah, Mariah and Brianna. You can please make your way to
And Sophie Dennett Welch taking the early lead, ahead of who I assume is her twin sister, Jamie Dennett Welch, same age. They do look very similar, so you'd imagine there's some shared genetics there. So Jamie and Sophie running shoulder to shoulder. Great to see. Parents must be proud. Big shout out to the Dennett Welch family as they come through and get the bell in about 1:11. So looking on pace to be tick over 2:20. And queuing up behind them, we've got Zara Ford just hanging there on the shoulder, along with Nikita Wayne. And here he is, Shay Veach, competition leader in the long jump.
Looked reasonably happy with that, didn't he?
So he's been improving every round. Started with that 7:28, moved up to 7:33, and then a 7:49 as Jamie just takes over the lead ahead of Sophie. Just rounds on to the bend. So it is the two sisters, Jamie and Sophie, running 1 and 2. And then behind them, Nikita Wayne just sitting in 3rd place. A couple of runners just coming up onto her shoulder, Alia Atkinson. And the sisters come shoulder to shoulder as they come onto the home straight. Have the others behind them got a response? Big finish here from Sophie Dennett Welch, overtaking her sister. The sisters will finish 1 and 2. Sophie will finish in a time of about 2:24.
So an exciting finish there by those two sisters. And just to quickly update, Shay Veach's mark on that last jump was 7:44, so he's improved a little bit more on his previous jump, or 7:49 I should say.
Now here he is, Nick Palmer, certainly the favourite for this competition. The local boy is looking very strong. And that looked like it's definitely over that 18-metre mark. Sort of around the area that Madison Weshi was peppering with the 4-metre shot. Now Nick Palmer. And I'll try and get a reading as that scoreboard spins around. We're not getting the electronic results come through to us. 17:55, there we go. So if you want to follow the live results, you can jump on to search for Athletic Live, and you'll click through to the live.athletic.net website, and then you can scroll down and find the Potts Classic results. And we're also going to put it on the description below the YouTube stream, so you can find it just below the screen that you're watching on. Brilliant work from the Stream Shot team. That was Jack Bryan into round 5 now. And we've got another of these 800s to run. Great to have this depth across the 800s. But before we get to that, this is one of the big ones. This is the first national title that we'll be handing out this year, and it's the under 20 3,000 metre champs. So we have Stella Hammond, Amelia Green, Courtney Fitzgibbon, Cara Heinen, Bo Ritchie, Poppy Martin, Eleanor Pugh, Sophie Robb, Mackenzie Morgan, Hannah Prosser, and I might have missed one of the names as I was reading it out because I've got 10 on my sheet. There's 11 up there. So that's your field in this 3,000 metre under 20 champs. And, you know, for a lot of these athletes, this is a really key title to get under your belt. A lot of these athletes will be finishing up their high school careers, maybe looking to get a scholarship overseas, and it certainly looks good on your resume if you can have a national title under your belt. So this is going to be a fantastic race, and conditions are perfect for distance running. There's just that light breeze that is sort of been swapping directions, but it's cool and really.
And you're game enough to pick a winner here, Hayden.
Oh,
the season's form book would probably say Bo Ritchie's one of the contenders, wouldn't it?
you'd want to say it's Bo Ritchie. She's certainly been on fire for the last 12 months. I think it's about this time of year she sort of made a big name for herself, bursting on the scene, taking out the under 20 mile title.
Yeah. Amelia Green and Courtney Fitzgibbon plus Mackenzie Morgan they should all be strong contenders though, shouldn't they?
Sylvia Potts, Trust. So in third place, representing North Harbour Bays, the jump of 5 metres 42.
Hannah Prosser has a good time. She's a 9:53 runner from down south. So
second place, the jump of 5.77 metres, representing, and the name of the club has been cut off, Athletics TA, Mariah Lerenui. And champion on behalf, but also title winner for 2023, representing Christchurch, with a jump of 6 metres 20, Hannah Sanderlands.
So Hannah getting to enjoy the podium all by herself. Here's two fellow competitors, MIA or potentially
competing somewhere.
Yeah, in the case of Brianna, probably competing or warming up or something like that. All right, so this field set to go. As we say, this will be the first national title that we hand out for the year. The under 20 boys will go later tonight. But here we are, the New Zealand under 20 3,000 metre champs. All right, so we've got, running through the start list one more time, we've got Stella Hammond, Amelia Green, Courtney Fitzgibbon, Cara Heinen, Bo Ritchie, Poppy Martin, Eleanor Pugh, Sophie Robb, Mackenzie Morgan, and Hannah Prosser. So taking that early lead is Bo Ritchie, not afraid to get out there and set that early pace. And also, just behind her is Mackenzie Morgan, and also Hannah Prosser just on the outside, making her presence felt, but definitely stringing out early as Bo takes them through in about 38 seconds. So that's about what you'd expect, maybe a little on the fast side for some of these women, but about what you'd expect for Bo early in this race. Now, what sort of tactical game are we going to see here?
I think we know how Bo likes to run her races, so I think it's going to be just hold on to me if you can, would be my suggestion, that we might see that race pattern unfold, but you never know.
And by the fact that we're already single file, no doubt that looks to be the way this is going to play out. So 1:16 So it's about 9:30 pace. So this is going to be a stretch for a lot of these girls to hang with, and it's going to definitely start to split the field apart. As you can see, those bungee cords starting to stretch just 500 metres into this 3,000 metre race. So Bo Ritchie with the leading Mackenzie Morgan, and then Hannah Prosser behind her, and then Cara Heinen wearing the green and blue of Athletics Tauranga. So there are your four, and it looks like there might be a little bit of separation back to Poppy Martin there in fifth. As I say that, she probably heard me and just closed up that little gap, so good work. It always pays to, if you can, just close up that little gap so you can stay in contact. Get a little bit of assistance from the drafting effect, but often it can be just that mental effect of being able to have someone to lock in. Here is Shea Veach in the long jump. Look at him go, look at him fly. He is our competition leader. He has been dropping jumps around that sort of 740 all night long. So that was round 5. So he's still got one more to go. So far the picture hasn't changed from where we were at the end of round 3. So continues that Shea Veach has the lead. Aaron Booth in second, Lewis Arthur in third.
So we'll watch them come through 1,000 metres, and it'll give us an indication of the pace. Around about 3:16, so they're on around just under 9:50 pace probably.
So definitely slowed up after that first, 1:16 first lap. So just an easing off of the pace. But this is still honest, and Bo's definitely come with a plan and being prepared to lead right from the front, with Morgan Mackenzie keeping a close eye on business, just sitting in second place. Hannah Prosser right in there as well, and Cara Heinen. As Hannah just takes a turn at the front. Good to see. So 3 laps down, 1,200 metres down, and Hannah Prosser has decided, look, you started fast. I wouldn't mind keeping this pace nice and hot and not letting it turn into a gamble in the last 400 metres. So a real statement here from Hannah, as she's almost in the space of 150 metres turned it into a 2-horse race.
Yeah, it's definitely opened it up, isn't it? So. And we've seen these young Otago girls running well on the cross country and road this year, haven't we? So it's probably training in a pretty good environment.
So Hannah Prosser leading Bo Ritchie. What do you think? Did they have a conversation beforehand and thought, well, we could take a few laps each and whittle down the field with a nice fast time?
Yeah, always an option of these athletes, isn't it? So Hannah's in pretty good form. She ran a 9:48 at the Lovelock meet earlier in the month, so they're on that sort of pace right now.
So a reminder again, this is the first national title we'll be handing out for the year. This is the women's under 23,000 metre champs, and it is Bo Ritchie and Hannah Prosser doing the front running at the moment. Both of them looking pretty calm and collected. They've probably come into this race having lapped out many laps at this sort of 3:15 per K pace. So last year at the under 23,000 metre champs, Bo picked up the silver medal. So she would love to turn that into a gold. That would certainly look good alongside the cross-country under-20 title from last year, the mile title from last year.
And she does have a superior 1,500 metres time, but that's, she's going to have to sit and hold and hope she can have that ability. But that's probably why Hannah Pross is putting the pedal down, so to speak, and leading them through, going through 2K now and about 6:35. So they've kept their schedule pretty good. They're not dropping off.
Yeah, great.
They've
great
definitely
front
split
running
away
here.
from the third place Morgan McKenzie, haven't they?
You can see Mackenzie Morgan with the ponytail probably 30 metres back, 30 metres back. So not doing too badly at all to keep within Kui. You never know what's going to happen in front of you with these two now setting a pretty decent pace now with 2 laps to go. So it continues. Hannah Prosser is more than happy to take the lead, and Bo Ritchie is probably feeling pretty thankful to have some company and some shelter to just tuck in behind her and let Hannah do a bit of the work after Bo set the early pace for the first 3 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that she's not had to do a lot as such. She's usually been one of the girls that likes to lead, isn't she?
So what can we tell from these facial expressions? Bo's looking pretty relaxed, but Hannah's,
she's working.
There's a little bit of rock and roll to her style, but she's still looking really relaxed and composed. You can sort of see the calculator going on in the back of the mind, thinking, okay, just get through this lap, and then it's time to start ramping things up.
Yeah, and for Bo, it's about just sitting there as long as she can and not want to move too early. She's getting edgy now. She's coming out on that shoulder a little bit, isn't she?
Yeah, still 500 metres to run, so plenty of time.
Yeah.
But when do you make the move? If you're in Bo Ritchie's position, do you roll past and make it a done thing from early on? Let's see. They go through an 8:35. I'll write it down because this is going to be an electric last lap.
For these girls, yeah. Something on the line. I can see Bo's pulling it out, and there she goes.
So
she's gone too early. That's what I would want to know. But she's obviously feeling good.
So Bo Ritchie takes the lead behind them. Mackenzie Morgan's looking like she should hold on to the bronze medal. It's about 30 metres back to 4th, but Bo Ritchie, she's stretching away now. She's getting up onto the toes. The arms are pumping. Has she put enough now between her and Hannah Prosser, who had to do so much of the work in the mid stages? Bo Ritchie pushing away. So here it is. This will be the first national title that we will hand out this year. This girl has had a wonderful 2022. She wants to turn last year's under 23,000 metres into a gold, and so far so good. 100 metres left to run. Here she is, Bo Ritchie, another national title waiting for her, just 50 metres down. What a wonderful kick this girl has had. Here she goes. She's going to be your national champion in the women's under-20s, and a well-deserved silver medal for Hannah Prosser. And coming in for 3rd, Mackenzie Morgan. She will take the bronze. What a run from Mackenzie, staying strong through those tough middle stages and potentially just dipping under 10 minutes. So
potentially around about a 10-second personal best for Bo Ritchie. So she was obviously running comfortably in behind, wasn't she? And it's got some talent. 9:45.49 a winning time. The best time before was 9:56. But
70 seconds for the last lap. Pretty strong.
You did write that down. And she played the waiting game. Caught going on the bend. You're going to be feeling good. So that it was good to see. But
you
very
could
close to a winning time for Hannah Prosser, and then Mackenzie Morgan. Probably the first time I think she might have been under 10 minutes, so that's a good run for her too.
Very impressive. And you could kind of see the way that Bo was coming up onto the shoulder, just itching to take that lead and just staying patient. It turned out about 3:50 to go, took the lead, and then really solidified it. Now, we need to keep you all up to date with how the long jump is going, because that is about to wrap up, because Shay Veach is on the runway. He's getting the crowd behind him. He has the win. The win's a done deal. He's consistently been in the mid-sevens today with a best of 7.49. A couple of backup scores, 7.44 and 7.41 as well. But here he goes. This is the victory jump for Shea Beach. Here he goes. Look at this wonderful energy on the runway.
Good speed, a little bit of shortening of the stride on there, but we'll see what he comes up with. He's still pretty happy, I'd say. It's a good opening performance.
He's got to be happy with that consistency across those 5 rounds, and it looked like that last jump was pretty strong as well, as we see Nick Palmer in the shot put circle, full of beans.
Stepped out there.
A couple too many beans. And Shea Beach looking pretty healthy, pretty happy and healthy. He had some injury woes last summer that knocked him out. I remember it was at the Cooks Classic and sort of about this time last year that his season ended.
So he finished off with a 7.40, so as you say, consistent, taking the win tonight though in 7.49, so he'll be happy with that.
Right, now we're into round 5, and this is Taryn Golashevsky from Australia, 4th place at the Com Games. Wonderful performance from her at those championships. That looks like it's reasonably close to 60s, but she's found that one. So she's sitting on 59.07 in 2nd place behind Jade Laley, the Brit, who has a lead of 60.91.
So she popped that leading throw out while we've been watching that 3,000 in the last round. So good throwing by Jade Lally.
Got to say, I love the tartan. Is this maybe a home club back somewhere in the UK? Not sure. But here she is, Jade Laley, over from Aussie, from GB. Well, she based in Aussie for the summit, but over from GB. Just kicks that one over the touchline. So she's got a best of 65.10. So she's a few metres off that, but obviously for these international throwers, now's not the time to peak. This will be a sort of a bonus extra competition. If you can be up around that 60-metre mark this time of year, that's got to be a pretty good feeling.
Well, for a lot of the Northern Hemisphere throwers, which is what we try to attract them down here for us to come down to the Southern Hemisphere out of the cold weather and do some outdoor training, isn't it? So absolutely.
If you're watching Northern Hemisphere athletes, greetings. Probably you're just waking up there in Great Britain. So good morning, Atamarie, as we say here.
So here we have the elite men's 100-metre final. Bit of excitement here on your screen. We've seen the conditions switch around. The flags could actually be a tail again right now by the looks of it. So we'll have to...
All right, so we've got Joseph Miller on the inside, Cody Wilson next to him, Hamish Gill, Tian Welton and Hayato Yonito. We've got a few scratchings from this one. But here we are, 5 athletes lining up here in the final. What has Tian got? He got away fast again. He's pulling away from this field. Joseph Miller on the outside is looking good, but Tian is pulled away from this field. What a run from Tian. We need to look at the clock because the wind felt to me almost dead still from up here in the grandstand. Tian, he's bouncing. He's full of energy. 10.18 again.
He's run that time here at Hastings a few times now, hasn't he?
It equals his PB. The wind was 0.0 metres per second. So I judged it. Maybe I should just do the wind readings from now on. But Tian Welton, let's look at the start. It looks like he's got it so dialed in. I know Hanato next to him is a fast starter. But Tian, once he gets up to speed, Those big strides. Look at that great knee drive. Those frontside mechanics. Beautiful to watch.
So Gill's coming through there, second, 10.59. Miller, third, 10.79. And Cody Wilson, 10.83. So
he sees the irony of the situation. I'll just clock another 10.18. Thumbs up. So good to see him healthy. Last time he stepped on this track, he pulled a hammy. So he's done it twice today and successfully 10.18 twice. And next we'll skip over to the...
Should be the women's 100.
Yeah, the women's 100 final, which is going to be... That wasn't electric. This is bound to be electric as well. So the women's 100 metres, Shail Collette on the inside. Portia Bing makes it through. Brooke Summerfield, Georgia Hulls, Livy Wilson, Rosie Elliott, Talia Van Rooyen and Abby Goldie is running on the outside. This is set to be an absolutely electric final in the 100 metres.
I'm just seeing if Rosie Elliott's there after her 400.
And Portia Bing, have we got a Portia Bing?
Looks like Portia there in lane 7, isn't it? So you can see Georgia Hulls and Livy Wilson there on the Collette.
Oh yeah, so we've got all sorts of changes coming through. So it looks like Shail and Adira are running in lanes 1 and 2. Brooke Summerfield is in lane 3. Georgia Hulls lane 4, Livy Wilson lane 5, Samantha Fanai in lane 6, Talia Van Rooyen in lane 7, and Abby Goldie in lane 8. So those two scratchings from the 400.
As you would expect, I mean,
yeah.
To run, it's early season for these girls, and they obviously wanted to run 100 and a 400, but and it's good to see that they filled the lanes with those next young girls there who missed the original qualifying, so that's fantastic.
Yes, a great work from our officials being able to shuffle around the starters, and also for the athletes to put in their scratchings nice and early, so that obviously these athletes need to know in advance so they can go through their warm-up routine and get ready to roll.
So once again, it's a seeded race, so we should see all the action now in the middle lanes, and
it's going to be
I'm sure the crowd will be behind Georgia Hulls there in lane 4. So a local girl from Hastings.
We saw two amazing starts from Brooke Summerfield and Livy Wilson in the heats. So expect them to get out very, very quick. But Georgia will be right between them, looking to maintain her dominance of this track. She won the 200-metre title here on her home track back in March. She would dearly love to take this 100-metre title. The same location that Zoe Hobbs last year set the 100-metre national record, which she went on to proceed to break about 4 million times later that year. But here we go. This is the final of the 100 metres at the 2023 Potts Classic. Away fast was Livy Wilson, getting up over Georgia. Georgia's making a big run for the finish. Georgia finishing strong. Oh, just dipping at the line.
Looks like
Georgia
Summerfield will take third.
Livy Wilson second, Summerfield in third.
The home crowd helped a little bit there, wasn't it, as she started that run.
Wow, what a run from Georgia. Took a while to get up to speed. So as you might expect from a 200 specialist, Livy Wilson with that super strong fast out the gate. And that gave a bit of a carrot for Georgia to chase. So 11.69 is the reading. They had a slight headwind with 0.8. Livy Wilson in second with 11.78. Brooke Summerfield 11.95. Rounding up the results, Talia Van Rooyen in fourth, Abby Goldie fifth, Shail Collette sixth, Adira Collette seventh, and Simone Tafanay in eighth. So let's get a good replay of this, because Livy got out super fast. Look at that. Immediately she's got 30 centimetres just in a couple of strides. And then once Georgia got into her speed around this mid-stage of the race, once she hit that top end speed, she just starts to pull away, and Livy trying to stay with her, but just edging away was Georgia Hells. The New Zealand 200 metre champ is your 100 metre champ tonight at the Potts Classic.
If Matt Holder is about, if you can also make your way here too, that would be absolutely fantastic. I'm just looking for Aaron Booth and Josh Woodhead. You can make your way to
so coming up next on the track will be the B race in the 800. And there we go, there's all the discus finishes. Finishes? You say that with a discus? That sounds like a distance runner talking. But nevertheless, Jade Laley is the winner from Britain with that 60.91 that she threw in round 4. Behind her, Taryn Golshevsky from Australia with a 59.07, and Tatiana Komoana coming through in round 4 to take the 3rd place with a 53.92. Good battle between her and Savannah Sheen, who wasn't too far behind with a 53.18. And how are we going with this shot put competition?
We're not really sure, because we're not getting any live updates for some reason on the shot, which is maybe just something that's happening. But we've seen some of the throws
we'll blame it on the Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, and we'll assume that the local Nick Palmer is leading the comp, but
14.68 for the previous throw.
Looks like Max Abbott in the...
Here's Max with his final throw. All right, lining up now is the 800 metres. This is the B final.
We've got some shared lanes here. Looks like we've got about 12 starters.
Yeah, so we've got Jackson McKay running on the inside. Callum Stewart in lane 2, and he's sharing a lane with James Herkus. We've got Zach Manning in lane 4. Max Wildboar is sharing a lane with Sam McHale. Luke Cudby has a lane all to himself. Mason Waterworth is in lane 6 alongside Travis Baylor. Liam O'Donnell looks like he's got a lane all to himself. And then we've got Jag Willers and Sam Petty sharing the outside lane. Sam Petty is on pacemaking duties. Here he is.
This will be a fairly evenly contested race, I think, knowing the form of some of these athletes. Hayden, I won't want to try and put my head on the block and try and pick a winner here, actually, to be fair. But, possibly James Herkus might be a strong contender, I think.
Do we have an idea of the sort of pace that they'll be looking for us? 150 something?
I'd say they'd want to be hitting the mid-150s, wouldn't they?
So I imagine Sam Petty has been given the pace that we want from him.
As I say, James Herkus was the leading athlete in 2023 with a 158, so I think he's got a slightly faster time than that from 2022, so it's still early season for some of these athletes that haven't been through the schools events.
Cooper Killick, the 18-year-old out of Christchurch in the shot put. And apologies that we aren't able to bring you the up-to-date standings and current scores in that shot put competition. But here we go. We are underway in the B final in the men's 800 here at the Potts Classic, and Sam Petty gets out nice and strong, as you'd expect the pacemaker to do.
Callum Stewart on the inside in lane 2, and the blue from Wellington is making a bold start.
So everyone having a look around now as they come out of the stagger and merge with a big field of 12 athletes. So they're having to be a fair amount of navigating spikes and heels and elbows. They'll all be flying all over the show. But so far, so good.
In the bright yellow, Liam O'Donnell, I think it is, from the Port Hills Club, come through to lead the bunch with Hercus on his shoulder from the Scottish.
Yeah, interesting. No one really wanting to go with that early pace from Sam Petty. He's looking over his shoulder, seeing what's going on.
Pretty keen for these guys, though. So they'll go through in around 57 for the leading of the bunch. Sam might run the whole way, do you think?
So James Hercus goes to the lead wearing the line of Wellington Scottish. So he is tucked in there behind Sam Petty, who looks like he's carrying on well into the race. So good to see, dangling a rabbit out there for the boys to chase, wearing number 292. Liam O'Donnell looking nice and strong as well, just coming up on the shoulder of James Hercus now as they reach the bend. Sam Petty steps off. All these guys looking like they're capable of going sub 2 here as they come through 600 in about 127, 128. Leading the way now is Liam O'Donnell, really pulling away now. Can he hold on? James Hercus is looking pretty good. Can he grit his teeth?
Callum Stewart.
Yeah, what about Callum Stewart? But holding on, Liam O'Donnell, he will hold on for the win. Good finish there from Callum Stewart, but it is Liam O'Donnell. He will take the win, and some good sprint finishes from the boys there to try and dip under that magic 2-minute barrier as well.
Yeah, some good. Most of those lads will be pretty happy with their times, I think, particularly at this stage. So here we've got Nick Palmer, the shot.
Here we go. That was a good throw from Nick. That was getting out pretty close
to the 18-metre mark.
Yeah, to that sort of 20-metre marker on your screen there. It's definitely beyond that 18. So results coming through. Liam O'Donnell with a 156.53. Callum Stewart 157.21. And James Hercus 157.21, given the separated out now. 157.44 for James Hercus in third place.
In second place, with a time of 16.33, representing Waitakere City, Aaron Booth.
And after this is the women's B800 metre race. And the 800 metre being a feature, obviously Sylvia Potts is one of the namesakes of this event. Sylvia and Alan, the husband and wife duo, and Sylvia was a 800 and 1500 runner back in her day, but certainly made her mark in the 800.
Yes, so the meeting started as a memorial of her when her late husband Alan was still alive and the boys were a bit younger, Nick and Richard.
So she passed away in the 90s?
Oh, you're testing me. I think it's the 20th edition of the Potts meeting, so it was a year after, I think, or somewhere around that. I don't need to have a look on, could even be on the very front cover of the program. But yeah, so I obviously had a lot of time with Sylvia and Alan. Sylvia was one of our team coaches when I was in LA. So
right, yeah.
Alan was a great man to want to keep in touch with everything that was going on, and so it was great that he set the meeting up. So it's the 24th running of this Alan and Sylvia Potts, but obviously for the first so many years it was just the Sylvia Potts Memorial. So and it featured the 800, but now it's the feature 800s are both for Alan and Sylvia.
And their son Richard Potts runs the event.
Yep, so it's great that Richard's carrying it on.
And I've even seen their grandson running around doing duties, so really cool. So in this race, we've got Neve Motley running in lane 1, Samantha Lechelle's in lane 2, Lucy Sheenan will share that lane, Poppy Healy is in lane 3, Chloe Hughes, lane 4, sharing it with Samantha Fuchs, Rosaria Gibson just outside of her, Emma Ferguson, Charlotte Flood-Smith-Ryan, and Kate Borton on the outside, who looks like she is heading off into pacemaking duties.
It's the Hawks runner.
Oh, yeah, apologies. That's not Kate Borton.
No, it's one of the Hawks runners there, so it must be, they've had to redraw the lanes, I think.
And just tucked in behind her, Poppy Healy will take the rail, set in behind who we assume is the pacemaker. Emma Ferguson looking nice and strong as well, just coming onto the shoulder now. Ooh, and hate to see that sort of thing in an 800, but it can happen a lot. So just clipping heels, but everyone stayed on their feet. Emma Ferguson now just moving into the lead as our pacemaker just pulls to the side.
Samantha Lascelles, who was placed at New Zealand Secondary School, so has moved through to the front now.
So Lascelles takes the lead ahead of Emma Ferguson. Emma Ferguson just tucked in there, and a bit of separation now, really pulling away from the pack. So Samantha Lascelles doing a good job to move into the lead as the bell, and often when you hear that bell you can get a good kick up the backside. It can give you a burst of energy, but getting another burst of energy coming onto the shoulder of Samantha is Emma Ferguson as she comes back into the lead now. Emma Ferguson with 200 metres to go and another clip of the heels. Boy, it's been tough out there for these 800 metre runners. So Emma Ferguson has the lead now. Can Samantha Lascelles respond? Is there anything left in the tank? Is there anything left in the legs? And a good strong finish from Lucy Sheenan there in third place as well. But it's going to be Emma Ferguson pulling away. She will take the win in this B final of the 800 metres. Emma Ferguson ahead of Samantha Lascelles and a fast finishing Lucy Sheenan for third place.
It was good performances for these girls.
And if you're wondering what it feels like to have finished in 800 metres, that tells a picture. It's all about getting oxygen back into the body. The hands go to the knees, and it's interesting, they've actually done research into the best way to recover, whether it's hands on knees or hands on head. It's actually best to put your hands on the knees. It's the best way to get the blood pumping. Something to do with the heart being the same level as the...
So it looks like
it's also something like that. Anyway, we'll leave that to the scientists.
Looks like that'll be a personal best, I think, for Lascelles. 2:13 is what she did at the New Zealand schools when she finished fourth, just out of the medals, and so she's run 2:12 there, 2:12.64. 2:13.10 was Lascelles, and second was Emma Ferguson was 2:12.64. So.
And Lucy Sheenan with the 2:13.56. So. Nice close racing, and here is one of the big finals of the night. This is the elite men's 800 metres, and this is going to be a cracker. We've got Noah McDermott on the inside, Max Karamanolis in lane 2, Carson Vesti, the local boy, Eric Speakman, he's another local boy, but he will be on pacemaking duties, Luca Evatt, James Preston, the number 3 all-time in New Zealand 800 metre history, lining up in the middle of the field. Next to him will be Jared McAuliffe. He's an Australian runner, now representing Malta, a 1:46 runner at his best. Outside of them will be Jack Payne, James Ford, Thomas Cowan, William Johnston and Josh Ledger. Now, do we have an idea of what sort of pace these boys are going to be given?
I'm thinking that Josh Ledger, who ran the 400 earlier, he must be on pacemaking duties here. So
he must be, and maybe that means Eric Speakman's actually racing.
Yeah,
there he is on screen, wearing number 315, sporting the Napier Harriers, and sporting one of the coolest kits around.
Yeah, it must be a bit of a sponsor's kit there for New Balance, is it?
It's going to give you some weird tan lines, however. And we got a quick look at Jared McAuliffe, who is... ranked about 2 or 3 in the Australian 800 metre rankings. So good quality field here. We've got multiple athletes going into the mid 140s. It'll be fascinating to see how the likes of Eric Speakman and Carson Vesti, who both would say that they're more distance orientated, in terms of the middle distance spectrum. And also James Ford, who featured so strongly at the National Secondaries. So let's see how this race unfolds. It is the 800-metre final A race at the 2023 Potts Classic. A big field of 12 athletes are away here at the Mitre 10 Sports Park in Hastings. On the inside, Eric Speckman, the 5,000 metre specialist, but on the outside, Josh Ledger, the 400 metre specialist, will take the lead, and I'm sure the man wearing that New Balance kit will be hoping that Josh comes through, setting a good pace for him. So James Preston tucks in behind Josh Ledger. Jared McAuliffe, the Australian, now representing Malta, right in behind there, and these three pulling away from the field. Great pacemaking here from Josh.
Yeah,
it looks like the pace is on.
Yeah, around about 52 for the first. So the two leading internationals have pulled away, but young Carson Vesti, that looks like he's leading the bunch, the local New Zealand schools champion.
They go through in 52 seconds flat. Josh Ledger pulls it off. Here's James Preston, the Maltese athlete, just on his shoulder now. Has Jared McAuliffe got anything to answer to James Preston, who beat him over in Germany? Both these boys set their PBs in the same race. James had the better of Jared on that occasion, but so far Jared is hanging tough and has had to do a little bit less of the work.
Yeah,
200 metres to go.
119.
119 with 600 metres down, 200 metres to go. Jared McAuliffe is right on the shoulder of James Preston. Has James gone too hard too early? What is this last 100 metres going to deliver us, ladies and gentlemen? James Preston, here he goes, getting up onto the toes, pumping the arms, holding on. Jared McAuliffe is hanging tough. James Preston coming to the line. He's going to take it. James Preston with the win. Jared McAuliffe, Carson Vesti will come through for third. What a run from James Preston. And how about that race that we barely saw on screen behind him? But
yeah, there was a good race going on for third and fourth, wasn't there? Some quite good times, I think. So 1:48.05, a good opening for the season for James Preston. Jared McAuliffe 1:48.67, and we'll see what Carson Vesti's time was in third place there, 1:51.24. So it's probably a PB for him, but a new meet record to James Preston.
Yeah, so it's just been announced as a new meet record, 1:48.05 for James Preston. Jared McAuliffe running really well. He looks so smooth, just tucked in behind Preston.
So it was Jack Payne from the Whippets Club that came through in fourth. So, James Ford.
Now, I had a chat to Jared McAuliffe just last night and asking him about how his training's gone. It's basically been all altitude training, and he said he hasn't run a 400 in under 60 seconds in about 5 or 6 months. So that's impressive from Jared, the Maltese athlete, to hang on. So previously representing Australia, now transferring his allegiance over to Malta through his father's genealogy. And here we've got the lineup for the Sylvia Potts 800 metre final. This is going to be a cracker. We've got Alan Schaaf on the inside in lane 1, Tilly Hollier in lane 2, Kira Hall in lane 3, Angela Petty in lane 4, Holly Manning in lane 5, Catherine Camp in lane 6, Jenny Hawke in lane 7. Rosa, we're not finished yet, we've got a few more names to get through. Rosa Twyford, Stella Peerless, Sophie Atkinson, Sophia Lombreras, and Shannon Geary. And there are your 3 places in the men's long jump. Shay Veach, victorious. Here we see Angie Petty, just 7 months after having the baby, and she's back. Holly Manning.
So Holly won this last year.
Yeah, national champion.
National champ on a home track as well, even though she spent some time in the US.
There's Sophie Atkinson, Sophia Limbreris, and Shannon Geary making up the numbers on the outside. So Jennifer Hawke set PBs last year. Holly Manning set PBs last year. But what can the wiser heads of wiser? More mature athletes, let's say, of Catherine Camp and Angie Petty, how can they respond? Catherine Camp obviously preparing herself for the World Cross Country Champs in just a few weeks' time, as we get underway in the elite race at the Sylvia Potts 800-metre memorial race.
Well, Shannon Geary setting the pace, but looks at it on the outside there.
And yeah, interesting to see how things are panning out. Looks like Jenny Hawke's going straight to the front, and Holly Manning just tucking in sort of third place behind Jenny. And that's Stella Peerless just running wide on the outside of Jenny Hawke.
Recently, so that'll be, she's in good form, so looking very good. Of course, her father, an Olympic 800-metre runner, so she's got the genes.
So a little bit of a split in the pack as they go through, and a tick under 60 seconds at the bell.
This is going to be fast.
Yeah, pace is on, and as the pacemaker just steps on the inside of the track, so it is Jenny Hawke outside of her, and Stella Pearson right there as well. Holly Manning is hanging tough there.
Peerless
so
is
these
looking really comfortable, I think, at the moment. She's keen on the outside there, but here comes Holly. The home crowd will get behind her, I'm sure.
So they're running three wide. This is amazing scenes here at Mitre 10 Park in Hawke's Bay. Holly Manning takes the lead as they go into the final turn. Holly Manning just hanging on. You never know how hard she's hurting. She's always got that grimace on her face, but she's hanging tough at the moment, and she's opening up a few metres. Here we go. Is there a response from Stella Peerless? So, pulling away, Holly Manning coming onto the home straight. She's got about 5 or 6 metres. Is it going to be enough? Stella Peerless, has she got anything? Holly Manning, can she hold on? The acidosis is kicking in. Holly Manning holds on to the lead. She'll win. Stella Peerless, and a big finish here for third. Wow.
So it'd be a big personal best for Peerless. What a great run that... yeah, Holly Manning did it tough, didn't she? And that was very intriguing to see them three wide down that back straight with 2:50 to go. Not something you see very often in an 800-metre race.
Incredible running, going three wide on the back straight, and then Holly Manning grimacing all the way around as she pulled into the lead, but pull into the lead she did, and she comes away with a big win to start 2023. That's the way you want to start. Great pacemaking there as well.
Yeah.
Wonderful pacemaking as they went through, just a tick under 60 seconds. So this was that moment as they went from three wide. Holly Manning, just that minor acceleration to get that all-important position on the rail. That'll save the energy. So it will require anyone behind her to go wide, but they couldn't respond. And Holly Manning holding on from a dogged finish from Stella Peerless behind her. And boy, that really sets things up for the season.
I think it was Rosa Twyford come through. Yeah, well, Alison's coming back for the Nationals, so we tried to talk her into staying out here for some of these because she came home for Christmas the first time in a couple of years, but she's gone back to Canada and she'll be back.
So there we go with the 400. Mia Powell picking up third, Portia Bing second, and Rosie Elliott. My brain is still in the last race. Rosie Elliott taking out the win. Good to see Rosie. You know, she wasn't a 400-metre runner a year ago. We often forget that. It was at the Sir Graham Douglas meet that she decided, I might give this a whirl. And
Well,
she ran well.
Well, I wrote to her back during the week because I noted that she's entered the Capital Classic not just in the 200, but she's put a name down for the high jump. And I said, is that an accident? And she said, no, I'm actually quite keen to get amongst the high jump. So there we are. She's a pretty versatile athlete. I'm looking forward to seeing part of that action in a couple of weeks' time. So
love that.
Yeah. So she's a good all-rounder.
And
great attitude.
Yeah, it just represents such a good passion for the sport, really. So cool. Now, I was just clicking through, see if we can update you on the results of the shot put competition. Unfortunately, those results haven't come through yet, but the boys are getting ready to step up on the podium, so we will know shortly. And on screen, we've got the start list for the under-20s 3,000 metre champs. So we have Angus Sevier, Matt Hill, Alfie Steedman, Sam Idians, Nick Davies, Zach Odwyer, Joshua Gill, Finlan Bailey, William Larkin, Thomas Barry, Elliot Pugh, Tane Patel, Jamie Mora, Christian Duval, William Johnston, George Wiley, Finn Barker and James McClay.
It's going to be another classic race with these youngsters, I think. Although the clash we had at the secondary schools won't quite be there because Carson Veston's already competed in the 800, so he's probably sharpening up for the mile at Cooks next week, I think. So, but yeah, I guess we'd have to say Christian Duval should be our form favourite, but we'll see how he bounces back from the New Zealand secondary schools.
Oh, there we go. We've got some results for the shot put. So Nick Palmer took it out with an 18.74. Liam Nachok-Wolf with a 16.11 finishes in second. And Nathaniel Sulupo, 16.07, will finish in third. So Nick Palmer on his home turf takes home the title as these boys get ready to see who can try and fend off the VO2 Max engine that is Christian Duval. All right, and we are away in the final race of the evening. This is the New Zealand 3,000 metre under-20 national champs. We've got 18 athletes lined up from all over the country, aged from, what's the youngest, 16, with Alfie Steedman, right up through to some 19-year-olds in the pack, and right to the front goes Christian Duval.
So it'll be interesting to see because we know how well Alfie Steedman ran in the juniors at the New Zealand Secondary Schools in the junior race.
Yeah.
Breaking a very old record, wasn't it? So this could pan out to be a really interesting race.
It's fascinating because you've got Christian Duval, who's the under-20 national cross-country champion. You've got Alfie Steedman, who's the reigning under-16 national cross-country champion. And it looks like Christian Duval has just decided, look, I'm going to get out really hard right from the gun, guys, because I want to make this pace nice and honest. And honest it is. They go through in 64 seconds.
8-minute pace. So Elliot Pugh sticking on his shoulder, and then it's the other Taronga lad tucked in after him. Well, that'll be George Wiley, I think, the second Taronga athlete, isn't it? Yeah, so they're making a name. A couple of athletes, pretty sure, from the Craig Kirkwood stables.
And there's your top three in the shot put. Nick Palmer taking it out. And continuing with this
64-second pace.
Impressive pace. And there's Alfie Steedman now coming to the front of that chase pack. But there's a good 15, maybe, 15 metres, edging up to 20 metres. Alfie Steedman's doing his best to hunt that down.
So the Pakuranga athletes there in fourth at the moment. That's one of the other lads that probably trains with Christian Duval, is it? possibly Zach O'Dwyer, I think it will be. Try and see if we can pick up his number.
Yeah, Jamie Moore also sitting pretty good at the moment. I think he's up there in 4th place, but at the moment, it's these two leading the charge, and right from the gun, came here with a game plan, did Christian Duval. Went out with a 64-second lap, and as Tony Rogers mentioned, that's 8-minute pace.
So 1K in 2:42, so that's about 8:05, 8:06.
Wow, so pace not slacking up. So I bet some of the seniors watching this kind of thinking to themselves, boy, this looks more like a senior race pace, but a bit of action behind these two. What you can't
really
see off screen.
Through,
Alfie Steedman has just closed up that gap along with a good paced return to the front of the race from Jamie Moore as well. So those four are leading the race as Christian Duval has another little look down to his watch and maybe clicks into another gear and puts a little bit of a stretch on that bungee cord once more.
He has, hasn't he? And Steedman's personal best around 8:27, I think it was, when he won the junior title. So, you know, these guys are running way above their PBs at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. But Christian Duval's intent on setting a bit of carnage, I think, behind him, isn't he?
Carnage is there what? Because the three behind them took a look at each other and said, I'm not going to chase him, you chase him. Yeah. And they said to each other, I don't want to chase him. And so it looks like there could be a little bit of more of a battle for silver, and they're prepared to let Christian Duval run away with it. But it remains to be seen. But Christian in 300 metres has opened up, 20 metres?
Yeah, he slowed up a little bit through 1,500 metres and just under 4:05. So they've evened it out a bit, but that's why there's some big gaps in this field, isn't there, right now?
Impressive running
there's some
from
capable
Christian
boys
Duval
in that second bunch, isn't it? So you got the leader, and then you got the chase bunch, and then you've got the peloton, so to speak, there with, you know, trailing through, and all running well for the boys at this age. So
it really does have that feel of, you know, a climb up one of the big climbs in the Swiss Alps and the Tour de France, really, where this is the race leader who's just put the burners on, is absolutely pulling away from this field. As here he comes through, 3 laps to go, Christian Duval. Absolutely wonderful running from him. Behind him, Alfie Steedman. We'll see him come on screen now. So Alfie Steedman running along with Jamie Moore and Elliot Pugh.
So Will Anthony's men 19 record is 8:04.25. So he's possibly not going to get that. But remember, he ran 8:08 himself last early December, late November. So good to see he's gone through 2K now. So I'm not sure if he got that split there.
Yeah,
it was about
5:27.
So yeah, it's a tick over 5:20 is a 8-minute pace, isn't it? So.
Yeah, so a slight slowing up for that K, but if anything, now it looks like he's pushing on even more. He's probably felt a bit, finishing up with the New Zealand secondary schools, a bit disappointed with that finish. I think he was a bit off colour, a bit unwell that day.
So 6 minutes with 2 laps to go. So, I mean, he can, if he's comfortable, he knows he's going to win, and he shouldn't have any fears, so he can go for it if he wants to. But yeah, Steedman running a really admirable race in second place. He's got quite away from Jamie Moore now. The gap's breaking up, I think, with Elliot Pugh sitting on him.
And then behind them, the pack has just gone through with 2 laps to go at 6 minutes 22. So 600 metres left to run for Christian Duval, who looks like he's out on a Saturday morning tempo run. Really, he's barely breathing, looking so controlled, running from the gun. Steve Prefontaining it out the front. If you don't know who Steve Prefontaine is, Google him in the next 90 seconds, and you'll find out exactly why this guy is, why I'm referring to him with Christian Duval, because front running. He's come here to do that job, and he's done it so well. He's pulled apart this field.
Going to run about 7:05 with a lap to go, 7:06. So he could break his own personal best. Steedman who's got a PB of 8:27. He's got 7:16 on the clock with a lap to go, so he's going to run a personal best, I would imagine. And looks like Elliot Pugh's just moved through into third ahead of James Mora.
Yeah, interesting battle for that bronze medal. It looks like Alfie Steedman should be safe in that second position, but 200 metres left to run now. After taking it right from the gun, he's going to take it all the way to the tape. What a run here from Christian Duval after starting the summer with a bit of illness and not the results that maybe he would have hoped for. Boy, he would have hoped for a gold medal here, and he's going to get it. He's got 100 metres left to run. Christian Duval, he's going to be your national under-20s 3,000 metre champion. Here he is. The crowd applauds him home because that is a wonderful display of front running, about 8:11. Alfie Steedman's going to come through for third.
He's going to run under 8:20, so that's going to be a big PB for him.
And Elliot Pugh, big run from him for third place. Jamie Mora coming through for a well-deserved fourth place, and big finishes from all the boys behind. Athletes running very close to breaking 8:30. Very impressive. This man, Christian Duval, he has got an engine on him.
It's very impressive, yeah. Lean and mean, I'd say, looking at him. And, yeah, it's good to see him bounce back. Obviously, as we said, he wasn't in his best shape, possibly, when he went to New Zealand schools in Inglewood, but very impressed with Alfie Steedman. We've got to remember that he's a couple of years younger, so to run the time like that, that'll be interesting. We should check out what the New Zealand record is for men's 17, which might be worth 8:04. No, Will Anthony's got that one as well. So.
Will Anthony's got that one sewn up. Yeah, I mean, you're talking, you're following in the footsteps of some athletes who aren't too much older, with Sam Tanner owning the under-20 3,000 metre record, and it's really interesting looking through those record books of those age groups with Will Anthony, Sam Tanner, and these boys hot on their heels. Wow. So that wraps up the 2023 Potts Classic here at the Mitre 10 Sports Park in Hawke's Bay. It's been wonderful to bring you the coverage alongside the team from the Stream Shop, who've done a great job, and also have done a great job, Richard Potts and the team here that put on this event. They do a wonderful job bringing this event together. Always bring the weather. We've had, well, it's basically still now. It's been overcast for most of the day, but you can't really complain. No rain, absolutely perfect conditions for distance running, which was one of the key focuses for tonight. We've handed out 2 national titles, and there's more to come. What's coming up shortly on the summer roster, Tony Rogers?
Well, it's going to wrap around pretty quick to Cook's Gardens next week on the other side of the island. So and we've got some pretty good athletes coming out, and obviously the miles are the feature there. So we've got the New Zealand Senior Championship miles and the under-20 mile championships as well for men and women. So it's that'll be the highlight, but there'll be some good action in the field, as we've seen here tonight. And I know that Tom Walsh is turning out there next week, so
awesome. Looking
forward to that. And then we roll on a few days later, or just under a week later, to the Capital Classic down in Wellington. So where we've got a lot of the same athletes turning up. Pretty exciting times.
So there we go. Perfect timing to wrap up the event as we see the 100 metre top 3 into the podium. Joseph Miller in third place, Hamish Gill in second, and then Tian Welpton running 10:18 twice to equal his own personal best. He'll take the win tonight. He looked in absolute blistering form. We'll see more of him this summer. So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in New Zealand, be sure to head down to your local athletics track, get involved in your local club, and head along to the classic meets that will be in a region near you. Obviously, Wanganui is the next stop, so be sure to check out the live stream for that. But on behalf of Tony Rogers and myself, Hayden Sherman, thanks for tuning into the coverage. Ka kite anō.